What is going on, guys? It is Big Mike here. We are back today once again with another SlowBroz podcast, and I'm here with my boy, a ZombieDawg. How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing so well, Mike. I'm excited to interview ChrisVoltage, Mr. Town 100, man. I just got back from the gym too, so I'm ecstatic, bro. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
As Dog mentioned, we do have a special guest, ChrisVoltage, here today. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How are you, Mike?
I am quite good. I've been wanting to get you on the podcast for a while. I think I actually
You've
said
been
something.
asking me for a long time, yeah.
Then I went
And I kind
MIA
of
with.
just, I was kind of MIA as well, so, but here we are.
I'll
Finally.
hold it out.
All right. So we're just gonna get into a little brief interview so people that don't know Chris can kind of get to know him a little bit before we get into other topics. So Chris, introduce yourself however you please.
My name is Chris Voltage. I play high round zombies, and I'm very competitive. I go for world records, mainly for high rounds. I've done a lot of speed runs, but these days I don't typically go for speed runs only. Like maybe a couple years ago, I was just doing 30 SRs, 50 SRs, 100 SRs, but I try to just do high rounds now. I'm probably most known for my Black Ops 2 games, but lately I pretty much only play Dead Ops Arcade. I have a lot of records on that as well. Right now, I'm 22 years old. I turned 23 in a couple weeks, and I live right outside of Portland, Oregon.
All right.
And yeah,
That's honestly a lot more than I knew about you before, so that's good to
Yeah.
hear. Yeah, like I don't know, man. I know it's hard to like have the mic on at all times while streaming and having to like pay attention to chat, but I just love that Chris Voltage commentary. Whenever it's on, I'm very excited to
Right?
hear
That's
it.
what I
yeah,
was exactly
yeah.
thinking,
I
bro.
The thing is, I at least lately, I don't. When I do stream, I don't talk a lot of the time.
Mhm.
Because to be honest, I don't. I used to enjoy streaming, and I would interact as much as I could, and I enjoyed it. But these days, I don't really enjoy it as much. So when I do stream, I kind of just I'll stay quiet and just focus on the gameplay because I think back in the day, like 2 or 3 years ago, I wasn't nearly as good as I am now, and I would put a lot more focus in the chat, and I
Mhm.
think like me just not try harding all of my games made it easier to pay more attention to people in the chat and just have a good conversation. But I guess a lot of the time now, I feel like it kind of holds back my gameplay. And like I will play worse if I'm interacting with people. I can sit in a VC all day while I play. That doesn't really matter. But
Mhm.
I don't know. It sounds kind of selfish, but like I said, I don't really enjoy streaming a whole lot anyways. So that's definitely why when I do, I just try to kind of focus more on the game.
Yeah, no, I understand that for sure. Like, I find myself in the same situation because if I'm interacting with chat, my skill level, no matter what I'm doing, it'll go down automatically. Just because, like, I always try to keep that like good bond, answering questions and interacting with everybody that comes in. But then it's like I forget like what I'm actually doing in the game. I'll forget my drop cycle or like my gum cycle just because
Exactly.
I've been like, talking about everything so much. Yeah,
I mean,
so
I
I understand.
Yeah, I think anybody, or pretty much everybody, will play worse when you're interacting with people and just looking away from the game at the chat. Like,
Mhm.
because obviously you're not looking at the game anymore. You're just not going to play as well, no matter what.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
sure.
definitely understand that because I know I play worse when I look at the chat, but I also feel like if I wasn't like talking to people in the chat and streaming, I wouldn't want to play zombies. So it kind of is like it's kind of an issue because if I didn't have chat,
Yeah.
I wouldn't play, but when I do have chat, I play worse and I end up dying. So it's kind of a struggle.
Well, it just depends what you enjoy the most because I can sit here and just play off stream and record all day and I'm not going to say I'm absolutely thrilled the entire time I'm playing, but I mean when I'm playing well and I'm in a good game, like it is fun and
Mhm.
I'm okay with not having that interaction.
Yeah, I think I've probably lost that passion for playing zombies and that motivation over time. So the only thing that really brings me back at this point is the community aspect, or like I just haven't played in a long time and it sounds kind of refreshing to get back into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of DOA lately because I've always had goals that I've wanted to reach on that, and I've actually reached most of them lately. So I don't know how much more I can even really get out of DOA at this point. But with zombies, yeah, I agree. I don't have that motivation anymore to play it nearly as much. I used to just I think a lot of people were at this point at some point at least where you kind of just were forcing yourself to play because you had these goals you wanted to reach, and so you would just sit there whether you wanted to play or not, just
Mm-hmm.
restarting and just doing whatever it is that you wanted, like Mob of the Dead, like whatever goal I had, I would just keep restarting. But now, when I do get that motivation to play, it is pretty rare, and at any point, if I feel like I don't want to do this anymore, I'm tired of this, I just get off immediately and wait until that motivation comes back, and that could be a few days till it comes back, or it could be a few months. Like I only do it when I feel like it now. I don't force myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking like, yeah, I think it's better for mental health if you just like only play when you want to, but then I was thinking, if you only play when you want to, it's going to be really hard to like hit those goals. But then I realized like I think you do play better when you truly want to play, cuz like
Yeah, definitely.
even though zombies is about skill, there's a lot of mindset involved. So I think if I come back and I really want to play zombies, I'm a lot more likely to get into a game and play well. Um, as opposed to like if I'm just going every single day and I don't want to play anymore, but I just have that goal that's super far away.
Yeah, and also I feel like when you take a break and come back, so this is something that happened with me. I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way, but since I've always I've had a lot of different speed run records and stuff like that. So when I'm really into it and playing a lot, I get to the point to where, like, let's say I get a Mark II and get out of the first box on Mob. I'll talk a lot about Mob specifically because it's the only normal zombies map I really have any interest in these
Mm-hmm.
days. But like when I'm playing a lot, I'll get a setup, and then once I get to double tap, so like once I'm completely set up, if I'm like even just 30 seconds behind my fastest time, I'm just like, oh my god, like this game is suboptimal. Like I don't even want to play this, and that's like a toxic mindset to have when
Yeah.
in the long run of a world record game, it doesn't really matter. Like a minute or even a few minutes off of a setup really don't matter. And I feel like when I take a break and come back, I can be 3 minutes slower than my fastest time and just be like, whatever, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you once you have the time away, you're not comparing yourself to your best anymore. It's just it feels so much better.
Hmm. Yeah, I understand that for sure.
Dog, do you have that kind of mindset when you're playing? Because I've kind of strayed away from that and I'm just kind of content with whatever times I get. But I know you go for a lot of speed runs and all that kind of stuff. So, like,
Yeah.
does that kind of mindset fuck with you at all?
Well, the thing the experience are a little bit different than high rounds because a 30 seconds to a minute in a speed run is like the whole. Like if you're doing like a 30 speed run, you can't be 30 seconds behind.
Mm-hmm.
But if
Yeah.
like a 100 speed run on some maps, you can't even be 30 seconds behind, right? So mainly when I play high rounds, I'm really playing records that aren't good. Like so, if I was a record like Mob, like I understand why you'd want to be the fastest possible, and not I understand when you get to that point where being 30 seconds or a minute slower than your most optimal game. I understand how that could like irk you off and like just not want you like you wouldn't want to play that game just because of that slower time. But like on a round speed run, it's not that I don't want to play the game. It's the fact that if I just play the game out, I'm wasting my time. Because if I play the game, I'm not gonna get record. For like, you can use the same example with like Chris is 30 on town. Like I feel like if you're 5 seconds behind at 25, then maybe I don't know exactly how insane the record. I know it's a really good record, but like there has to be a certain point in the game where it's like, yeah, there's 10 seconds behind, I just can't play, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think round speed runs and high rounds are definitely different for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I yeah. If with the round speed run, yeah, I completely agree. Like even just 5-10 seconds can completely ruin it. But
Yeah,
I meant just specifically high rounds because it's just very toxic when the game lasts 100 hours and you're sitting there
yeah,
dwelling on the fact that you're 1 minute slower to round 30. Like it just really doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
at that point in the
hmm
game, especially you're not even 1 hour in. You're not even
yeah,
1% of the way.
and like,
There's so many other ways to save time, so it's just kind of like
yeah,
you just need to get over it and learn to just be okay with a somewhat suboptimal start of the game.
I mean, like you theoretically, you're probably gonna have. So there has to be it's a mob's like an 100-hour game, right? So there
Yeah,
has to be something along those hours where you're gonna lose 30 seconds in the 150s or like 160s. There has to be some mistake you can make on mob. I
yeah.
feel like that would
So
lose you that time, so it wouldn't really
exactly.
matter at all. Yeah, I know Keg is a really big guy on that whole like mindset. How people are always restarting for these stupid ass times. Because I remember him. They did this little like ZNS tourney kind of. I'm not sure exactly who it was, but I know. Oh, it was Gamers, Vastas, and KXG. Uh, Gamers and KXG were just playing out, every game, and obviously, Gamers is really good ZNS player, so was Vastas. But it got to the point where like Vastas kept restarting for these like 30 times. Like if his 30 time was like was too slow, he would restart. KXG and Gamers, they got a couple minutes slower. They didn't really care. They just played because they knew a high round's a high round and these lower times aren't gonna matter. And ended up in a tourney, even though Vastas is a really good ZNS player and probably and arguably like one of the best out of those three. KXG and Gamers were the only two that actually got games out, and Vastas just ended up just restarting into oblivion and never actually got a game past 100. He just kept restarting over and over again. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what happens when you sit there and dwell on your times
literally.
early in the game. You're never gonna get a game at that point.
Yeah,
It's never gonna happen.
yeah. I mean, I understand for sure because like that the whole entire game is just like, God, I missed 30 seconds on round 29. Like you're on 112 and you're still thinking about round 29.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I get it for sure, 100%.
I mean, we only have so much time to play zombies or do anything. So, like, if I feel like if I get a game set up, I just want to play that shit out. And I know I have I have
Yeah.
different goals than a lot of than you guys most likely,
Hmm.
because like I'm not going for any world records, but like I'll take any fucking game that I can get because I just want to get new PBs and I just want to play the game because I do
Hmm.
not
That's a good
enjoy
point too,
restarting.
though.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not only like not the fact that it's not enjoyable just restarting over and over, but it's like these games take so long anyways once you finally get that good game. So it's like if you're restarting, like yeah, you just get to the point eventually where you feel like you're wasting your life away, and you're just like, damn, like I could have had so many games by now. Everybody's probably been through that where you come to that realization. I could have had so many games by now if I had just played some of those out. Like I feel so dumb. I mean, yeah, it's happened plenty of times to me where I even I had a game, so I got a new Mob 100 SR a couple months ago. I played it all off stream, and then I quit on 132 because I mean it was still a very fast game, but I took the game was in my mind like pretty damn good up until 110. I had 3 downs, and then I took like 10 to 15 downs from 110 to 132, and
Hmm.
then so I took a down on 132, and then like as soon as I revived myself, like I got up and I started running to jug, and I got hit twice and went down and just immediately rage quit. I was just like, nah, fuck this shit. And looking back at it, like yeah, I regret it. Like
Yeah.
a half hour later, I was just like, damn, that game was still good. Like I'm a
Mm.
fool for quitting out of that. What a joke. But I don't know. It happens. Like I don't know. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to that map because I mean taking downs on that map, most people look at it like, oh, downs don't matter. Like who cares? You have unlimited downs on mob, but one down is like 2 minutes lost. And if
Mhm.
you take, well, it's because of where Jug is located on the map. Like you have to waste like 2 minutes going through the first room and then back up to the gondola, down the gondola, buy Jug, come back up the gondola. It's the whole process that takes too long. And when you take like 10 to 15 downs in such a short amount of time, like that's like a half hour lost. And yeah, I was just very mad about it.
Are you still significantly ahead of somebody playing like stair strat in the cafeteria, even with like 30 minutes or so lost from downs?
Yes. Yes. The second fastest person to play mob was Blasters. He got a 7-hour, 44-minute 100 doing OnlyFans. So
Mhm.
the game I recently played that I was talking about, I think the best way to play the map is to do OnlyFans until 120. You could do it later, but the way I play it now is a little different than I played it before. So
Mhm.
when the trap turns off and I'm outside of the warden's office, I pretty much always shoot one burst just to make it, even if it seems safe to push back into the office, I'll just shoot one burst of the acid gat just because it pretty much guarantees that you're going to get inside without any problems every time.
Mhm.
So at 120 plus, if you're playing like that and using ammo almost every time the trap turns off, like you pretty much run out of ammo at the end of every round. And so basically what that means is if you want to play past 120, you have to stop using your ammo that way, and it makes it a lot harder. So it's possible, but it just becomes very sketchy, and not only sketchy, but it makes it harder to have perfect trap timing. If you don't have perfect trap timing there, it's not even worth it because the stair strat would just be more optimal.
Mhm.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
just switched to stairs at 120.
Mm.
So I know you got like I think it was a G spawn error or something around what was it
Yeah,
150 in the past?
155.
And
Uh-huh.
was do we know exactly what that's from and like if you should stop OnlyFans at a certain round so that doesn't happen or how that works exactly?
Um, so I think, or I want to answer something I didn't answer with the last thing you asked real quick. How faster or how much faster I was compared to like other people, anyways. So at least compared to stealth, at around 120, I think I was like a little over 2 hours faster
Oh,
already at
wow.
that point in the game, and
Okay.
and then you just asked what happened with the 155 game, and do we know what's causing the error? So I don't think it was HGM Rick, but it was somebody he knew did some testing, and they said that the game crashed after 1,000 uses of the fan trap.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I don't know. There's a lot of things that I'm skeptical about because it's like if you're testing something like that with times 10 timescale on, I feel like the game is more prone to crash with
Mhm.
timescale on because you're pushing it to its limits. Like the game's not meant to run like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think they were just flipping the trap switch and it crashed eventually. But I think it has to do with using too much ammo from the GAT over the course of an entire game, and probably Electric Cherry, also using a lot of Electric Cherry shocks. Um, I don't know about the fan trap itself, though. See, the thing is, I've been too lazy to do my own testing. I just like to play instead of testing because I don't know. It seems like a waste of time to me. Or it's not a waste of time, but to me, I feel like I'm never gonna completely confirm it in my mind, so
Mhm.
I'd rather just play. But yeah, I'm more convinced it's the using too much ammo in the GAT and too much electric cherry. And I'm the one thing about the ammo that I'm unsure of is I don't know if it's simply using too many shots or if it's sticking too many zombies. Because each time you stick a zombie with the GAT, they do a certain animation where they kind of like stand there and they're like they almost look like they're like, what the fuck is happening to me,
Mhm.
like what is
Yeah.
this thing on me, like they're stuck and then they die, and it counts as like a trap kill actually when they die like that. I don't know, so I don't know if too many of those animations is causing a crash maybe, But that's another reason that I only run it to 120 because it's like once you move the stairs, you use a lot less ammo because the strat is it's
Yeah,
just more consistent in terms of just playing safe. So
for sure. Makes
yeah,
makes
but
sense.
I don't know if I'll ever be 100% sure about what's causing the error on that map.
Hmm.
It's kind of a mystery right now, and the only way we'll find out is if somebody else is willing to do some testing. But also, there's really only a few mob players left to this
Yeah.
day, so you really never know if anybody will ever be willing to test that map a lot, unless other people become interested in it. You never know what could happen in this community.
Mhm.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
was gonna say it's probably harder to find out what's wrong with it because there's not enough players, and it's I feel like
Yeah,
you're the only person. I mean, I'd assume there's a lot of people playing OnlyFans for that long, but I feel like you're the probably the most consistent OnlyFans player.
yeah,
So if it were to be a gap problem, I feel like you somebody like you would be the only person that'd run into that just because of how like well you're using the gap.
yeah,
So,
does Gaming Ghost play
so yeah.
OnlyFans
definitely.
or Stairs?
I don't I think Ghost plays OnlyFans till 70 and then moves to Stairs.
Oh, okay, okay.
But yeah, I don't know for sure actually.
Hmm.
I will.
But I've also while playing I spam the GAT a lot less during insta-kill. I still use it during insta-kill, but the game that I crashed like during instas at the warden's office or double tap, it didn't matter where, I was spamming the ammo as fast as I possibly could every time. And now I learned that there's a mechanic with the acid gat that I don't think many people even know about it. I've talked to other mob players and they said to me like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing." So if you've ever played mob, like you'll find that shooting the gat at zombies, some of the shots will randomly explode immediately, but it's not actually random at all. If you have enough distance between yourself and the zombies and you impact one of them, it will explode immediately every time.
Mm,
So I found that using the GAT and spamming less and allowing them to kind of come out of the windows and then just aim down the sight and stick them, it's definitely faster because you got to also think when you're spamming the GAT as hard as you can, like just super fast, the zombies stand still in the windows. So if you're spamming less, they're not going to stand still. They're going to pour out the windows, and as soon as you see them come out the window, if you stick them, they die instantly. So not
eh,
only are you saving time, but you're also using less ammo
yeah.
to prolong the error, if that even is what the error is. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, I hope one day the BO2 community is like revived a little bit because I look on Twitch all the time. I follow a lot of zombies people, but I swear I very, very rarely see BO2. And like it's definitely not my favorite zombies game of all time, but I do think it deserves some more love and I hope more people will play it cuz it's
yeah,
a
it
pretty fun
is. It is
game.
sad. Yeah, it is my favorite out of all the zombies games. So, I mean, I can understand why people don't like it as much as I guess Black Ops 1
Mhm.
specifically because uh, I don't know. I like Black Ops 1, but I don't play it because Black Ops 1 most of the maps are very much more dependent on RNG. I mean, the records are very hard to get on pretty much
Yeah.
every map at this point. I guess
Mhm.
Shinonuma might be the most open, but it's still hard. Um,
Mhm.
but Black Ops 2, it's fun. I like all the maps, and there's RNG in any zombies map, but for Black Ops 2, it's not so dependent on that. Like, don't get me wrong, for Black Ops 1, like you need to be very good at the game to get pretty much any record at this point. Like, you got to be playing fast as fuck and get the good RNG.
Mhm.
But for Black Ops 2, I just feel like the RNG doesn't really determine the game for most of the maps.
Yeah,
And yeah,
Mob is
that's what I
pretty
like about it.
consistent once you get past the point where you need drops. I would say after camping, right? Like there's not
Yeah,
much
so
RNG involved at all in those high
the
rounds.
yeah, the only RNG thing that pisses me off about mob past like 70 plus I'd say is so you need a perfect cycle on that map past a certain point, or else once you get really far into the game, you're going to run out of ammo on the rounds where you don't get a max. Like if you start a round with low ammo and then you don't even get a max ammo that round, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the part that bothers me about that is on mob, you won't even consistently get 4 drops every round until 100 plus. I've
Really?
had yeah, I've had in my 100 SR, I I got 3 drops on I think like 92 and 95. I got 3 drops each, which I mean it's rare, but it happens and it pisses me off because you have to reset your cycle at some point, and resetting your cycle loses you a decent amount of time. So it's like if you get lucky, you'll stay on a perfect cycle and you won't have to lose that time to reset the cycle. So I guess what I'm trying to say is most games you do have to reset the cycle. And every time that's happened to me, it just bothers me because I'm like, damn, like I could have just got lucky and not had to waste my time. To reset the cycle, what I do is I go back to the cafe for a full round, and let's say you need 1 drop left in your cycle until it's reset.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll throw the tomahawk till you get that 1 drop,
And then go
and
to
then the rest
cafe.
of the round you will not kill any zombies on the map. Like you won't get any drops if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I go to the cafe is because you can still use the tomahawk on zombies in the window, and for the most
Oh.
part it's not going to chain to the zombies on the map and force a drop.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean I guess I shouldn't complain though, because that really is the only thing, like the only RNG at that point in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
BO1 just has
I wonder
RNG
if
at every
like
point in the game.
Yeah, yeah. Dog
yeah.
rounds, instas, box
Trade
RNG,
outs.
everything.
Windows on 5.
Oh god, yeah.
Most random, literally the most random stuff. Like now on Shino Numo, there's perk RNG with the doors you have to open. Because if you open, so the less obviously, I guess people didn't know about this recently, or maybe they did. I don't know. But the less doors you open mean the less perks on the map, which means the less
Less
entities on the
entities,
map.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to restart for not only no DT and fishing hut, but then also like jug in the right hut or like speed cola in the right hut, whatever. And
Yeah.
like
That's terrible.
I think the way like Slayer played it was he played no speed. He would play speed cola in or he would play jug in the hut you camp to 50. I forgot what hut it was. He basically only played jug. He plays no speed to instas. So
That's
you're literally just playing
terrible.
Q. Yeah, you're literally just playing QR and jug.
Yeah,
And then
I
I guess
guess
he
technically the most optimal way would be only jug the whole game, and that sounds awful.
yeah, but I don't even know if
Instas
that's
with no
even optimal
speed
because
cola?
yeah, right. I think you for sure you lose time.
Yeah, you're probably right. You probably would want speed cola at some
Yeah.
point, or when the
But
instas
then
start.
it's like luck though, because you don't want to get what? Because it's QR. You can either get QR or you can get. I guess QR is good.
But you
Now I
don't know
think
for
about it.
certain at that
You
point?
probably do.
No, I
No,
guess
no.
no,
You
you
have
do
two
know
huts
for
closed. You
you
have two
would
huts
know for
closed.
certain at that point though, because you can see which one's QR. The
Oh, you can
QR machine
shoot.
sparks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't even have to shoot. There's a spark at the bottom right of the QR machine,
yeah,
and you can see that through the hut doors. So I guess, yeah, I guess it
yeah.
might not be as bad as we're thinking.
That's a BO1 thing. Because that's you
Yeah.
can't do that on BO3. Or I'm not sure about World at War, but you
Oh,
definitely
okay.
can't do that on BO3.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
That sucks for BO3.
oh yeah, BO3 it's worse too because there's a new strat on BO3 and it's like the same process. Like how you have to you can only have like one hut open, and
Oh
that
my
one hut,
god.
yeah, it's like one hut. 2K she knows more about that and like sniper cats, but yeah,
But can't
it's
you
like
get all the perks out of the Wonder Fizz, or is it a little?
Those are the only ones
Wonder
that aren't on
Fizz.
the map, right? Those
So
are the
yeah,
Oh. Oh
for the most
no.
part on Zombie Chronicles, it's only Zombie Chronicles from the exception of Origins. Every map, oh and Ascension.
Mhm.
Every map, it's Widow's Wine, Stamina Up, and Deadshot. Ascension takes out Widow's Wine and Stamina Up and puts in Double Tap, and then Origins has every single perk.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, the
yeah,
Wonder Fizz is
there's a
so
lot that I
stupid
don't
on
know.
BO3. Yeah,
Yeah.
on some of the maps like I know DE QR is in the Wonder Fizz. You can get infinite QR,
Mhm.
but it is
It's so rare,
significantly, yeah,
right?
it's so rare. Like I mean, 3 hours of just hitting the Fizz constantly and
I
not getting
used to
it.
play a little bit of BO3, never like super competitively, but I remember years ago I had one game where I was hitting the Wonder Fizz for about 2 hours or something and finally got it, and
Jesus.
I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I thought that it bugged out or something, but nah, it really is that
Yeah.
rare.
No, it's like it's so stupid. I'm not sure if it's only after you take your 3 downs or if it's like just QR in general is just so much more rare. But
I would assume
yeah, like
it's
it's
just
just
rare in general.
yeah, it's just so weird. And I mean, it's only for specific maps. Because on Noct, it's not like that. Noct,
Yeah.
it's not like that at all. I know Rev, it's like that. I know DE, it's like that for sure. But the maps, I think, like there's like some specific maps where it just doesn't matter at all. Like Origins, I don't think there's any counter. But then, because some people are now, because there's a whole other debate on BO3 now. It's kind of like a new new way to play the game is you can't take more than 4 downs, and anything more than 4 downs is not considered record. That was like a big thing Jumpy and Square pushed. So basically, if you had 4 downs, your game was over. But then the argument against that is if somebody has 4 downs,
Aren't they just gonna be too slow anyways?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? Like you're not even because now you're talking about BO3, where most of these maps, Mule Kick is the strat. And I mean, think about it. Shang, you can't down. Shang, if you down, assuming you want to get 255. Shang, if you down, it's over. You're not gonna get 255.
Isn't that because of the stone
Yeah.
eventually will be in the tunnel and then you can't
So
get your third
not
run
even
pretty much?
not even that. Yeah, basically, like you'd have to get super lucky. Like you'd have to make sure the stone isn't in the tunnel, and then you'd have to make sure you get your AATs even from the stone because you gotta get turned or like whatever gun you lose. And that yeah, like it's the same thing for other maps. Like Kino, you gotta hope you get the AAT you lost, and if you don't get the AAT, then you gotta fucking train on the stage until it right. So
I've
just
had
like
that shit happen so many times.
yeah, like that whole argument I feel like is really stupid. I know it's a little off topic, but I mean, like, that whole argument against like 4 downs, because I mean, it's just like I don't know. I understand, I guess, for megas, but I mean like nobody cares about megas, so it doesn't even matter. But like Noct, I think would be the map that it matters the most on, and even so, Noct, it's like what I think he only had like 3 downs in Noct.
Did he? Oh, I thought he had more than that.
His original
I guess I
game,
don't
he
remember.
had a lot of downs.
He had a lot. Chihiro had like 14 downs as well. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just weird. There's just a new thing to argue about on BO3. Literally.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, I think that'll bring us into the community questions. So on Twitter, Dog tweeted out on the SlowBroz page asking if anybody had any questions for Chris, because he's a mysterious man. We got to know some more information. So we got a good bit of questions. We're gonna go through them a little bit. I don't think anything's gonna be super deep within here, but we'll start with some of the questions that Krups asked. So I've been very curious about this too. Who is the person in your profile picture?
Yeah, like number
I don't know. I don't even know. I have had a like this guy in my profile picture. I think it's safe to say since I was like maybe 10 years old, and not on Twitch or anything, but I remember. So the first time I ever used this guy, um, do you guys remember Kick Messenger? It was an app. Did you guys ever use that like many years ago? A lot of people. I don't know why. It's literally just texting, but a lot of people use that back in the day, and like me and all my friends used that, and like that was just my profile picture. I don't know. I just thought it looked kind of funny, like because he looks nothing like me at all. Like he's the polar opposite of me, and I was just like, I'm just gonna have this dude that like completely does not represent me at all. And like I think it's funny because people come in my chat, and I mean most people already know it's obviously not me, but some people will be like, "Is that really you, bro?" And I don't know if they're trolling or not at this point, but I'm just like, "Yeah, man, that's me. It's definitely me."
Hey, you never know. Not. Are you
I guess that's true.
Those
saying that?
emotes are fire.
What? Oh,
Those
yeah.
emotes of the guy, it's so hilarious. Blem always uses them. It's like Blem's most used emote.
He's been subscribed for a long time. He loves using that emote. Or all of them, yeah.
So, how did you get the name ChrisVoltage?
This is kind of a funny story too. So I used to like I've played zombies since Black Ops 1 came out,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't really involved in like really playing competitively for records until like literally 2 months before I got my town 100. That was when I started grinding. Uh, but like I'm sure you guys probably know what TZT was. It
Yeah,
was a clan that I was a part of, and so
EZT
my
Nightmare.
name, yeah,
Um,
yeah, he was in it.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I don't know. There was probably like 20
He's
something
still that's
members
still
at
his
one point.
name.
I think it's just Nightmare now. Maybe you're
Oh,
right. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
I don't ever see him or talk to him.
yeah.
So maybe you're right. But so I had like a 78 on town on the leaderboards on Xbox, and one of them hit me up. They're like, "Yo, bro, like you're pretty damn good at the game. Do you want to be part of TZT?" And I was like, "Sure, but I just have no clue like what my name would be." And I literally just sat there for a while thinking of like words that I liked, and that was the one that I chose. Like there's really no meaning behind it, or like it's not even really special to me in any way. I just chose it, and once TZT kind of died down, I just changed the TZT part to Chris. And like I don't know, I still don't even really like the name that much. I don't dislike it. I'm kind of just at this point I'm like, "Yeah, it is what it is. That's what people know me as, so I'll never change it."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is your name actually Chris?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
Okay.
I was gonna say that'd be kind of weird if it wasn't.
I
Yeah.
was
I mean,
kind of curious.
there are people who will have a name that just is far from what their actual name is online.
Yeah,
Pretty sure. So, Steve and Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Pretty sure that's not their names.
Really
Yeah, from what I've heard.
interesting.
At
Yeah.
least for Steve, that's not his name.
Hmm.
Damn.
That's really weird.
Yeah, that is
I wonder if
interesting.
Big Mike's name is actually Mike.
No. I mean,
It's
No,
not.
I mean
Yeah,
it's
no.
I mean,
it's
it's somewhat my
Mikey.
name, but I don't go by. I would never introduce myself as Mike ever to anyone. But
Yeah,
like, I'll always be Mikey. But yeah.
yeah,
All
hmm,
right. Well, I think we can move on to the next question.
yeah.
What got you into playing BO2 high rounds a lot? Like around the time when you got the town world record.
Um, so like I said, I used to play a ton back in the day too, just not so competitively, and I always loved all the survival maps. I think what I loved about them back then and when I got my records as well was like I don't know, because now I agree they're very boring maps. I don't like them that much anymore. Um, but I just liked the fact that like no matter what gun you had, like i- you can use it and you're not like wasting time. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can do trades and shoot like any gun out of the box. I guess I just liked playing a map where every gun mattered in a way. Like and it's just fun to be able to use like every gun and it's actually doing damage to the zombies and kind of progressing the rounds even if it's like a fucking SMR like it's very weak but it's still doing something like
Mm-hmm.
and like you can upgrade random guns like while the box is moving and just like spam. I just liked that aspect of it. And so I got a gaming PC about 4 years ago to play Overwatch and Fortnite. Like I was out of the zombie scene for probably a couple years completely. Like I was not playing at all. And I got sick of Fortnite pretty fast. Like the game changed so much and I was never even good at it. I'm really not good at player versus player games. It is absolutely not my specialty. Uh and I kind of got sick of Overwatch and then I realized like wait, like I have a PC now and this was like almost a half year after I got it, I was like, why haven't I played zombies yet? Like, I know zombies on PC is so much better. And so somebody showed me how to get redacted, and I did a few games of Town and Nuketown, and I was really enjoying it again. And so I played a Nuketown game where I got my first 90 on survival. I got to 92 and game overed, And after that, I told myself like, well, shit, if I can get 92 on Nuketown, like I know I could probably get a 90 plus on the other survival maps as well, other than Bus Depot. I mean, I know I could get a 90 plus on Depot now, but I don't have the motivation to do that, and yeah, I don't really want to. But yeah, so then I played Town, and actually, at the time when I was playing Town, my goal was just 99. That was the record, and I think everybody but a very small amount of people realized that 100 was possible. I
Mhm.
didn't like, yeah, I went into it thinking I was going to get 99 at most, and that was going to be that because I always loved Town. I just wanted to get the record, and it was like maybe around round 95 in my game where I was like, holy shit, like I'm playing pretty fast compared to Figsu. Like I think I might actually get to 100 this game. And I remember when I was restarting on the low rounds and shit, people were asking, do you think 100 was possible? And I would say no. I'd be like, no, there's no way 100 is possible.
Wow.
So it's kind of funny that in the end, like I proved myself and everyone else wrong about that.
Hmm.
And even now, like 101 is possible. And
Yeah.
Slayer, I've heard Slayer say 102 is possible. I mean, 102, it's probably possible, but I doubt that would ever happen. That would
Yeah.
you'd need some crazy RNG for
What,
that.
what about no jug? I don't think anybody would ever get no jug
Who's gonna
100 like
survive
reset,
that
but
long?
Yeah,
exactly, right?
I agree.
But if you
I
were to
mean,
play no jug to reset, wouldn't you be able to get like 102 or something?
probably that would probably be the only way to do it in my mind.
Yeah, I remember Blem was saying
Doing
that.
no jug.
Yeah.
There's so many things about no jug that speed up the map. Like so many little things. Like every reload is faster since you have speed cola.
Mhm.
Um, you're closer to the pack-a-punch machine, so every time you pack a punch, you don't have to spend as much time running back and forth. The insta kills, you get
Interest.
like a huge amount of kills extra compared to doing it at stamina up. Um, I mean, every other gun that you use, you're reloading faster too. Like, there's just so many little things. Like, and you can, I'm pretty sure you can spam the Mark II faster. It's just sketchy when you trade. And I'd say using the regular ray gun is pretty sketchy as well. I mean,
Mhm.
anything without Jug is sketchy though. It's two hits to die. One
Yeah,
little
literally.
mistake and you're done for.
And the
I
zombie
So
can't imagine trading
explosions and
out.
shit, and even if you just get a nuke and the
Yeah.
zombie explodes near you, like that sounds scary as fuck.
yeah,
And for like a hundred
if
and
you're very
30
close to a
hours,
zombie when they explode, yeah, I'm pretty sure when you're right next to a zombie that explodes after that, you're one hit. So
yeah.
yeah, it's
Dude.
very sketchy.
I
But
remember
I
when you
think
first started streaming. Like I was on Twitch and this was when I was like pretty small. I didn't have a huge audience or anything. I just remember scrolling on the browse page. I think I went into BO2 and I was like, who is this guy? He has like no viewers, but he's on like around 80 plus or something on Town. Like I feel bad, or it might have been Nuketown. I was
so.
like, I
Was that
feel
my 100 game? Oh,
no, this
That's
was
when I found
before. I
Chris
think it was
too.
Nuketown. One of your Nuketown games possibly.
Yeah.
Like I
maybe it
remember
was the
seeing you
92.
on a high round and you had barely any viewers and I was just like, "Damn, this poor guy is like playing for so many hours just killing zombies. I feel bad. Like he should have way more viewers." Then you eventually ended up popping off. I don't remember exactly when that
Yeah,
was,
it
but
was after the town record, or towards the end of that game was when it really popped off. But
mhm.
yeah, maybe it was during my Nuketown 92 where you were there. I don't
I
really
think
remember
so.
who was there and who wasn't because it was yeah, my average viewers was like the first few days I was getting like 2, 3, like pretty much nobody. And then I'd get like 10 followers a day, and I was very happy. I was like, "Damn, like I'm getting 10 followers a day. This is crazy." And then my viewers went up to like 10 on average towards the end of that game, and it felt really good. Like I was finally starting to grow a little bit. And then yeah, during the town game it really went crazy. And I remember, so I went down at the end of round 99. There was 2 hours left until 100, and
Mhm.
it was late at night. I had been playing like 14 hours that day, I think. I was exhausted. And so I was going to play straight to 100 that night, but then I went down and I was like, fuck, like I don't want to throw the game. I'm really tired. I was scared of a power outage, but I decided it was probably best to go to sleep. So I went to bed, woke up the next day, immediately played the rest of the game out, and I did it with the viewers and the chat covered because like I was nervous. I was like, I don't want to see any of this shit. I don't want to know how many people are here. I don't want to see any messages. And as soon as I hit 100 and looked at the chat and the viewers, I was like at 400 something viewers, and the
Holy
chat was
Holy
moving
shit.
like
shit.
it was moving like an XQC stream, like just constant messages just flowing down. I was like, oh my
400.
god, like yeah, that's the most I've ever had. It was
I
crazy.
God, I
But
didn't think that much. Holy shit.
the second most I've probably ever had was last year during the town co-op I did with Slayer TV.
Oh
I
Mm,
yeah.
had like it was like a few days in a row. I had like 200 plus, and I was just like,
yeah.
damn, like this is just town co-op. Like I guess people really like town or
Yeah.
something. I
Dude,
don't
you're a
know,
view magnet.
I
but
loved
People just
watching that
want to
stream.
watch you whenever you're live, I swear.
yeah, it's crazy. And that the thing is, like, I already talked about this right at the start, but I don't really interact that much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, well, if it's a co-op, maybe I'll interact more because you have a lot more time to where you don't have that many zombies. Like maybe if you're using an EMP in a town co-op, like you can easily interact with the chat when they're not even attacking you. But yeah, solo, like I always think about this. It's like I'm not very passionate about streaming, so I don't always make an effort to talk to people in the chat. But it still makes me wonder, like, what if I interacted as much as I could and tried to be entertaining? Like, I could probably get like a lot more viewers and maybe
Partner.
get partnered on Twitch. Yeah, I mean, I applied for it a while back and didn't get it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think I know why that happened, but I still think it's kind of bullshit that I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I applied when my viewer average was like 80,
Mm-hmm.
and um, then I kind of got scared because Twitch started that whole like DMCA thing where,
Mm.
I mean, it was already a thing, but they were like cracking down on people. So I stopped listening to music on stream, and my viewers like plummeted. I think a lot of people liked just listening to my music and having my stream open, like because I don't think most people, we can all agree, nobody sits there and actively watches a zombie stream the entire time. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'd be bored
Yeah.
out of your mind. So I think people liked having my music playing, and they would check in on my gameplay every once in a while. So I applied, and then I stopped listening to music, and it took Twitch a month and a half to reply to my application. And by then, my viewer average was like 40, I think. And so they were like, "Sorry, your viewer average is dog shit. Try again." And yeah, I never really streamed that much since then in order to like have that viewer average.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's.
after that town co-op, I could have, but I felt like they would have rejected it because I literally had only streamed for 1 week,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yeah.
felt
No,
like
they
they
would
would have
have
been like,
for sure.
yeah, they would have been like, "God, you don't even stream that much, man. Like, this might just be a fluke. All these viewers, like who's to say that you stream more and keep getting these viewers?"
Hmm.
So,
Same thing happened with crops and like some of the Easter egg speedrunners. Mikey averaged like 75 viewers for like 2 months, and he applied. So now he's partner, but like the first time he applied, they said he was in like he was on like a fluke, I guess, or like he hasn't averaged the amount of viewers for long enough, even though he's actually averaged 75 viewers for like a good like month or two. So it was really weird. Like Twitch is like always strange about that. And the whole thing with Krups, like how long did it take Krups to get partnered? Like he should have got partnered way earlier than he did. Like
Mm-hmm.
straight up.
Twitch is
Yeah.
very inconsistent with their partner stuff. I really don't know what they want sometimes, whether it's a large
Uh,
amount of subs or viewership or a combination of both. Or it's just, I don't know. It's weird.
Moderation. Because that was Yoma's problem when I was watching
Oh,
Yoma.
sexually
When
suggestive or whatever. Like,
do you remember that? Like because people kept saying "yep cock" in his chat, and
yeah.
he had to like they had to crack down on that. He made mod applications.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I filled one out. This is when I was a viewer. Uh, I remember he filled out. I filled out a mod application for him. Like he had to like get a shit ton of new mods because his mods weren't moderating his chat. Yeah, and then everybody just kept spamming like "yep cock" and like a bunch of like sexually like suggested stuff. And yeah, Twitch was like, "You need to fucking fix your chat, and then maybe we'll partner you." Yeah.
Sexually suggestive stuff is the best. Come on. Look at all my
Oh,
content on them. They
I
all
mean,
go.
like Look at all the hot tub
Yeah,
streamers. You can't tell me that's not sexually suggestive.
yeah,
Like,
right.
No, you just hate
yeah,
women,
I don't
Chris.
know,
What are you
man.
talking about?
You're right. You're right. I'm a misogynist.
Yeah,
Oh, you're a massage
Somebody's gonna
therapist?
take that out of
Fuck.
context.
yeah.
A massage therapist. There you go.
Uh,
Uh,
all right. I'll bring it back to the community questions. But are you ever gonna play other games besides like BO2 and DOA? Like maybe BO1 or BO3 or the greatest zombie game of all time, Cold War?
Well, I guess technically I do play Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 3 and Cold War because those are the games that Dead Ops are on. But
Mm-hmm.
if yeah, we're talking about normal zombies.
Yeah.
I do play Black Ops 1 from time to time, and I can get some pretty good 50 times on like Ascension and Durice. I've never really tried other maps that much, but I don't know. Black Ops 1 does not run well on my PC. Black Ops 2 runs perfect. Like it runs so well, it looks so smooth. When I go to Black Ops 1 and I use Tim for the what is it? The windowed like borderless full screen, I
Mm-hmm.
think. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
The
Yeah.
game's just super laggy. It's just super laggy.
Do you
And
I
have
like
like
different
borderless
refresh rate
gaming.
monitors?
yes.
Yeah,
My
so
main is 144, my other is 60.
yep, I did that for a
Literally
long
same.
time. And the key was I had to minimize stuff on my second monitor for it to run smoothly. Otherwise, it felt like shit on BO1.
Huh.
But then I got matching refresh rate monitors, so I'm okay now. But yeah, if I minimized
Interesting.
everything on
I've
the
heard that
second
before.
monitor, it was fine. Or also if I just had a little bit, the main thing is movement. If you have movement on your second monitor, it's gonna
Like a
fuck up your game.
video.
Yeah, like a video
Yeah,
or my
yeah.
Twitch
Even
chat
just a
moving.
Streamlabs preview, maybe.
Animated emotes,
Yeah.
anything like that. So I would put my game on the main monitor and then I would just have Chatterino on the second monitor and like a timer at the top, and that was it. And the game would run
Hmm.
pretty good because I turned off animated emotes and I didn't have something covering the whole screen. It was just a little rectangle. So it was okay. But yeah, I wouldn't play the game if I had to deal with that shittiness either. So I get that.
Yeah. I mean, I only really play it for fun now and then anyways. I definitely the answer to like if you're asking if I have any goals on these other games is no. Because I don't think I'll never quit, but I don't really have a lot more goals left in zombies anyways. Um I was at a point to where I was like getting every record on Black Ops 2 seemed appealing. And I mean that's just kind of it's possible. I'm sure somebody could come along and do it, but it's just
Yeah.
you got to cut your losses at some point and realize like do I really want to spend all that time doing this shit though? Especially since nowadays I don't even really enjoy regular zombies that much. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've played DOA more than any regular zombies ever. Like maybe that's not so obvious because I used to play it a lot before I ever really streamed. I played so much DOA like years ago, and I still enjoy it. Like I surprisingly most people don't even like it and don't even really want to try it, and I understand. But I still enjoy playing it. Like I actually have fun while I play it, so it's just like I really just want to play the things that I enjoy. And like the only goal I can really think of that's left in regular zombies would be like the mob record, but
Mm-hmm.
I kind of doubt I'll ever even get it at this point, not because I'm not good enough, but because the motivation is just not there. And I mean, I quit out of most of my games anyways. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of a perfectionist on that map. So if I start taking too many downs, like it's not the downs themselves that bother me. It's the fact that you lose like 2 minutes every time you down. So I just get mad and just quit. Um, so yeah, you probably won't see me playing any of the other zombies games. If I do, maybe like Remix or something. I really do enjoy Remix. I think Remix is I love the changes that 5 and 5 has made to a lot of the maps, and it's only like what 12 hours of gameplay, and it's like I don't even care that it's not that competitive.
Mhm.
Like I think a lot of people probably shy away from remix because it's like, oh well, I'd rather just play regular zombies because that's what we've always played and it's competitive. But it's
Mhm.
like, I mean, remix is fun though. If you enjoy speed running, which is pretty much what zombies is these days, like I think most people could find enjoyment in remix.
Yeah.
And I might just play like remix instead of like regular zombies at this point because it's fun and it doesn't last that long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Remix on Derice and Ascension a while back, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever invented when I started playing it. But once I got a few hours in on Derice, I just started to get really bored because it just felt like it was the same thing over and over and over. So I ended up quitting out on 100. But I would be interested to play possibly Ascension Remix or I think BO2 Remix. Did that come out?
When was that you played it? Yeah, BO2 Remix is a thing. When were
La-
you playing that? Was it like a long time ago?
Nah, like maybe a year ago. I think it was my first year of college in like the
Okay. I'm
springtime.
asking because do you guys remember so there's Remix and then there was Reimagined. Reimagined I think came out first and
Oh, I
it
was playing
wasn't
Remix
even a
for
5
sure.
and 5 thing. Okay, okay. Cuz I remember I played Reimagined and like I felt the same way. I played Derice and like I was at like 90 something without a trade. And I was just
Hmm.
like, well, this shit's getting boring as fuck. Like you like the betties, it's like two betties to kill a horde at any
Hmm.
round. And I mean, I think Remix is the same. It's like two claymores, but he's definitely balanced out Remix better than the reimagined version that I played was. So I don't know. I haven't even really had the motivation to play that though lately. Like I really only play when I really want to, and I have that motivation. So who knows? Maybe it'll never come back at this point,
Yeah.
because it's just I don't enjoy it that much anymore.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I never played Remix ever. I mean, it seems really cool, and I think BO3 Remix is something he's expressed interest in making in the future.
Yeah,
So, I
there's so
mean,
many maps
maybe.
on that game. Damn, that would take a long
Well,
time
I
to
think
play.
he'd focus on the main maps and then maybe do the Chronicles maps. I can't imagine a Noct remix.
I feel like
Those wouldn't
playing
do it.
Megas is like
Yeah,
similar to playing Remix a little
Yeah.
bit because you can just do whatever you
actually,
want
yeah,
with the
Well,
game.
that's kind of true.
Like there's
well,
a
I mean, mm, it's
I can
weird.
see how they can compare.
Thing
yeah.
is, BO3 is weird because there's no way like every map, except I guess you can do it on maps like Varuk and Shinonuma. Because I
Mm,
guess like the big thing about Remix is like like it makes it so maps that where you usually can't get drops with wonder weapons, you now can get it.
mhm,
Because on BO3 like every wonder weapon usually it makes drops except for the Chronicles maps. But then most of the Chronicles maps have AETs, which
mhm,
means you can still get drops with the AETs, except for not for Verrucht and Shinonuma. At a certain point, you're never gonna get a drop again on Shinonuma or Verrucht, and it'd be cool, I guess, because I know he did it for Verrucht on BO1. It'd be cool to see if I guess drops with like the WAF on BO3 because he did that for BO1, right?
I
I
think
don't think
so.
so.
I've never played BO1 remix,
Oh, I
so
thought
On
maybe
BO1
I thought
Remix,
he
you could
did
just
it.
use Betties to get
Betties. Are
drops.
they like
Like
infinite damage?
two Betties kills a horde.
Okay,
mhm.
I didn't know
So
that. Okay,
you could
yeah. I
get
mean,
drops there, and the drop percentage is increased as well. The
okay,
box average, like the Wonder Weapon luck, is increased in the box. It's all 4 rounders.
okay.
Yeah, there's
So
a bunch
yeah,
of little
so
changes like that.
something like that in BO3 would be cool then. Like maybe
Mhm.
I don't think maybe not trip mines because I think that wouldn't really work well. I think if you could just make it so the WAF makes drops, that'd be pretty fucking cool.
But then why would you do that when
That'd
you could
change the
just
game.
pop a gum and get a pack a punched
Well,
weapon and just like get
okay, but I
drops from
mean,
that?
well, playing a classics high round is a lot different than a megas high round because then think about all the perks you have too.
Yeah.
It changes a lot. And then now you have Widow's Error on maps, and then
Yeah.
you can
Was
restart for no one. it puts a lot of shit into it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, we should go on to the questions. So I can go into it. Fleur had a couple of questions as well. He wanted you to rank all the DOAs from worst to best.
Okay, so I kind of went over this in a chat. He was doing like a hi- high round zombies tier list the other day with 5 and 5 and Frenzy, and I kind of told him, but yeah, he wants me to go more in depth, I think. So like, I mean, the tier list for solo and co-op is extremely different since solo and co-op on that game, like all the
Yeah.
DOAs is so different. I'd say for solo, I enjoy DOA 2 the most, and then DOA 3, and then DOA 1. And like I'm sure you guys, Mike and Dog, you probably have no clue like really how
Yeah.
DOA works or
I don't
anything.
know.
But yeah, DOA 2, I think I mean you understand the DOA 3 movement, like how the zombies move and shit. Like I think and I don't even think it's a DOA 2 thing, it's just a Black Ops 3 thing. Like overall, I think Black Ops 3 Zombies has the best movement. Like the zombies are the way that they horde up is so consistent compared to Cold War and Black Ops 1. And I just like Black Ops 1, the zombies, they like group into each other in a really weird way where they can run through each other,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
then I don't even know how to describe it. They do this thing where I think when too many are too close, like when they're like grouped inside of each other, they like split and do this weird shit where they just randomly split, and then there'll be a bunch of zombies just they'll just start running in like a different direction for 1 second and just cut you off. So DOA 2, that doesn't happen ever. Like the zombies movement is always consistent. Like they stay grouped up and they can't go inside of each other. Like it's always just one big clean horde. And on DOA, it just makes it so nice. Like the consistency, you always know what kind of movement you can make and like the little gaps you have to cut through. DOA 3, so Cold War has an anticipation logic with the zombies on that game where you start moving one way. Actually, I've never played regular zombies on that, so I don't know if it's even a thing on the regular zombies. Maybe it's just DOA. But when you start moving one way, the zombies anticipate that and completely cut you off. So
I
like
think the
you
regular
kind of
zombies
have
does that as well.
yeah, so you kind of have to juke them out. Like you have to fake that you're going one way and then really quick turn the other way, and like that's how you make your escapes. Like, but in
Hmm.
that game, it's very inconsistent. You can try to fake them out and cut one way, and like some of the zombies just like sometimes they just won't listen, and you'll just get completely like when you try to cut back the opposite direction, they'll just cut you off anyways. Or with DOA 3, there's a lot of the arenas. If you walk into a wall on certain parts of the map, the zombies will completely run in a different direction because it's like I think that they're confused and they think that you're in that wall and they're trying to like go to the other side of that wall
Mm.
because that's where they think you are, and you'll just get cut off and die. Like
Yeah.
there's just a lot of inconsistencies with that game. And the reason I put DOA 1 as the lowest for solo is because I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy them all, but DOA 1, there's just I guess I've played it the least amount, so I don't know how to deal with all the bullshit on that game. There's something every DOA 1 player knows called getting ghost hit, where you're very far from the zombies and they slap you anyways. Like you
Mhm.
just visually you see them reach their arm out and it's obviously not even near you and you
Hmm.
die. And like it always pisses me off so bad on that game. There's that, there's the zombie movement, the inconsistencies with that, where like I said, they just group in a really weird way. No, excuse me. And they split and just like they just cut you off. off in a really weird way. I mean, that happens on every Black Ops 1 map. I don't play Black Ops 1 enough to understand how to work around that, I guess. Um, but for co-op, I would say, I think the best for co-op is definitely DOA 1,
Mm,
like because there's the best teamwork overall. So with DOA 2 and DOA 3, like the the biggest flaws in those games is it's very hard to play as a team on certain arenas. Like the better strat at certain points in the game is to just have one or two players playing at a time while the other two are just dead out of the way to make it
uh,
easier. And on DOA 1 that's never a thing. Like you can always have all the players playing, contributing, making it easier for each other. Like it's just that the teamwork is so much better. But DOA 2, like to get the record co-op on that, you literally have to take shifts like you were talking earlier. I don't think we
yeah,
said this on. Yeah, we were talking before the podcast about this. Like two
take
players
shift,
should be
yeah.
there, or it's for DOA. It's more one player is playing and another player is there in case they're needed, while two players are asleep and not even there.
Mm.
And because the reset is, I think it's a range of 69 to 75 hours. Nobody really knows why it's such a big range. I don't think anybody's done like any sort of entity tracking or reset tracking for DOA 2. But um I think that that's my second favorite for co-op. So yeah,
Yeah.
DOA 1 is the best. DOA 2 is my second favorite. Uh, because like even though I don't like the fact that you can't really work as a team the whole time, like it's still interesting having to take shifts. Like what I enjoy about it is the fact that you almost have to play perfect while the other people aren't there.
Mm.
Because something that happens in DOA, you guys, I mean, I'm sure you guys maybe know the basics of it. You can have up to 9 lives at a
Yeah.
time. You have the speed boosts and the nukes, which if you're in a situation where you're about to die, you can use one and it saves you. So on DOA 2, or on all of the DOAs actually, there's a thing called life stealing, where if your teammates are at 0 lives and they die, it steals a life from you and it gives you like a reward for it. And on DOA 2, there's a lot of different rewards. I don't think I could even remember them all off the top of my head right now. But basically, they'll always be stealing your lives, so you're almost always at 1 life the whole game. There's a safety net at 1 life. Like it won't steal anymore if you're at one.
Mhm.
So the whole time you're sitting there at 1 life, and if you die and you go down to 0, like it's like holy fuck, like I might game over right now. Like I'm at 0 lives. If I die, it's over. And so you kind of have to play perfect the whole time. And I really, a lot of people don't like that because it's very, very stressful. I just uh, probably 5 days ago, I got the co-op record on that round 291, two-player with Swado, and it was so stressful. And I barely got any sleep because of the whole shift thing. Like I had to play so much. So I don't. Yeah, there's aspects I don't like about it, but I like the fact that you pretty much have to play perfect. It's very rewarding, I guess, in the end to know like, oh well, I pretty much played like very, very well the whole game, and never let myself like drop too low with like a bunch of mistakes because it's like just a few mistakes in a row and it could be a game over. And then DOA 3, I say DOA 3 is the worst for co-op. Um, this one's kind of weird because if it's a 4 player, the teamwork is there. Like it almost plays like DOA 1, but it it's only if you have a really, really good team. Like
Mm.
so I have the record 4 player on that round 269, and it was a really fun game, but it did get to a point where uh so every time you beat the boss round on DOA, the game gets harder on every game, and we got to a point to where 2 of the players after round 256, which is the 4th boss fight, they were pretty much worthless for the rest of the game. So it did become the same situation as DOA 2, where 2 players were playing while the other two were just dead on the ground the whole time, not doing anything, not really contributing too much. Um, but yeah, it's fun 4-player, like I said, if you've got a stacked team, but 2-player and 3-player I think are awful. Like
Mm.
Yeah.
the with 2 players, it just it feels awkward. 3 players the same. It feels very awkward trying to have 3 players all survive at the same time and like share all the item drops and like maintain their lives and everything. So yeah, I don't really want to go too in depth on all of that. I think that's probably all I really have to say about a DOA tier list.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's all good.
The only DOA I've ever played is I saw that on Cold War there was a first person mode.
The first
And
person, yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
I saw you playing that.
I cannot do the third person or whatever you call the
The
regular.
top down, yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that
The
shit.
top down camera view.
Yeah,
I think that's what pushes most people away from it though, and it's
100%.
understandable. If you if you're more for the first person aspect of zombies, then yeah, of course you're not gonna like the top down.
Hmm. Yeah, the first person was kind of cool. I don't really see myself going for a high round on it or anything, but it was fun to hop on
Yeah.
for like 20, 30 minutes for the first time.
See what it was about. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Is DOA first person considered like? I know. Okay, I know some terms, DOA terms, because of KXG. Is it considered like Mickey? Isn't that a term?
Yeah, people say Mickey means like in DOA terms it's like easy pretty much. I don't
Okay.
know how that term came to be, but yeah. The game mode itself is considered easy, yes, because so when you're in top down, there are certain enemies that don't one hit kill you, but for the most part you're one hit from most of the enemies, and one little mistake and you die. And so first person, you have a mini map the whole time. It's only there when you're in first person. So the boss zombies are like we call them special zombies, like the megatons and the warden from Mob of the Dead is on Black or DOA 3.
Hmm.
Um, they're both like considered specials, and they do like tons of more damage to you than the other zombies. So
Yeah.
like they have a certain indicator on the mini map, so you always know where they are. You're always, or, yeah, you're literally never gonna be one hit by a zombie unless you already have some damage. Um, and you can sprint, like so your movement is faster. You know where everything's at due to the mini map. Like you can see where they're spawning, which is something that you don't know when you're in top down. Like it's just there's a lot of advantages to it. I'm not just gonna sit here and say that it is piss easy,
Hmm.
but it's definitely easier than top down for
All
sure.
right.
Yeah, I can
All right.
imagine. It didn't seem incredibly
Yeah.
difficult when I was playing it, and I'm not good
Yeah,
at video
it's
games
not.
by any means.
And the thing is, though, on DOA 2 and DOA 3, even in the top-down version, there is so first person is a item drop. Actually, when you pick it up, it puts you in first person for 90 seconds, and there's advantages to it. It makes your score multiplier go up while you're in the first person, and when your multiplier is higher, it's easier to make lives because every 200,000 points you make a life.
Mm,
So yeah, like the thing about DOA 2 and DOA 3 is making sure that you're taking full advantage of your first persons. It's very important. That's like one of the ways to make your lives back for the most part.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
All all right. So, completely off-topic question, but I think it's interesting. I like to get to know you a little better. But if you do like watching shows or movies, what do you like to watch? And also, if you do read, what do you like to read?
I know this one's from Fleur,
Mm-hmm.
and so I feel like this will be a disappointment to him because I I know Fleur watches a lot of shows and he probably reads a lot too. I would assume. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really read ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess
Respectable.
I've always said I've always said that it doesn't interest me. Like I get bored when I read, but I feel like these days, actually, I could probably find a book, like, if I'm interested in it, I could probably sit down and read the whole thing and enjoy it, but I guess I've never put in the effort to find something that I think I would enjoy. I've never really looked for anything.
You
And in
gotta take
terms
some
of
recommendations from
movies or
Fleur.
yeah, give me some recommendations for. I'll take them. I mean, I don't know if I'll actually read any of the stuff you recommend or watch anything, but I'll still take recommendations. Um,
Yeah,
for shows and movies, I'm kind of the same way. I don't really watch a lot of movies, or I almost never watch movies or even shows. The shows that I do watch are kind of just like I mean I love South Park. Like I think that show's hilarious.
yeah,
Especially the newer ones. I mean I don't watch it regularly by any means, but if I ever do have that itch to watch something, like it's probably South Park or just some goofy ass show like that. Um, I like South Park because it's just like this troll ass show. Like everything about it, it's just, they're just like a troll about everything, and I think it's hilarious the way that nowadays they cover like pretty much their episodes are about whatever events are happening in real life. Like they're covering COVID and like the presidential elections and stuff, and they're very good at making it hard for you to determine like what side they're on. Like they
Oh, I like
represent
that.
both sides very well, and but they're making fun of both sides, so it's
Mhm.
just kind of like it. No matter which side you're on, I feel like if you like shows like that, you'd find an enjoyment in South Park.
yeah,
Like the last, I don't even know how many seasons, at least 5 or 6 seasons are all pretty much them covering events that are happening in the world. And they twist them in very silly ways, like to make them unrealistic. But it's still very relatable, and I don't know, they're very funny to me. So I've
yeah.
always enjoyed South Park, even before they were covering like uh, events happening in the world. They used to just make random episodes that had there was no story, they had no significance with each other. They're just all funny to me.
Yeah, I've always
Yeah.
heard a lot of good things about South Park, but I never really tried to get into it. Do you have like a recommendation of a season to like start on, or do you think that starting from the first season is probably the best option?
Um, I don't think. Well, I haven't even seen all of it. Is the thing. I haven't seen every episode. Like
Hmm.
I mean, at this point, the old seasons are. I don't think they're as good as the new ones. Like, I feel like most shows, when I hear people talk about them, they always talk about how the originals were the best and everything. But I think like probably season 10 and beyond is where it gets really good. Like,
Okay.
if you want to watch the ones that relate to real life and what's happening in the world, I would watch. I think season 20 started. It was about the 2016 election, and
I didn't
I
see that.
loved that season. I thought it was good. Um, they made two specials recently about COVID. It was called like
That one was
the post,
hilarious.
yeah, the
I was,
post-COVID specials. They were both an hour each. Those ones are really funny
and it
too.
wasn't even just about COVID too. It was about the riots as well.
It was, yeah, it covered like yeah, not COVID, not just COVID, just like pretty much everything that's happened through COVID.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
No, that one was hilarious.
Yeah, I might have to get into it. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
on like Hulu or something that I can watch it on. So I'll definitely take a look. I'll let you know my thoughts, Chris. I want to see these specials.
yes, please do.
All right.
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
specials were great. I think you would enjoy them.
All right.
Yeah.
And the last question from Fleur. Interesting one. When do you think the community was at its best? Like what time period? What was going on at that time? All of that stuff.
Hmm. Uh, well, I mean, this is probably pretty biased for me just because I wasn't really like part of the competitive community at this point, but I enjoyed watching zombies and the content like very long ago, back when I don't know when this was, but I think You're Adopted when he got like the Shang world record, and like Frenzy was playing Call of the Dead. Like even though obviously like the records looking back now they weren't really that impressive like it was for back in the day.
Mhm.
uh I just enjoyed the streams a lot more back then. Like
Mm.
it seemed like the streamers, and it's funny to hear this from me since I don't interact with my chat or anything. Like I just play the game, but I enjoyed watching. Like it seemed like most people back then were very interactive, and they always made an effort to talk to the chat and have a relationship with the viewers. And it just seemed, the reason I said like I'm probably biased here is because I wasn't part of the community, so there probably was drama back then, but I didn't see it. So it seemed like things were very, from my perspective, very peaceful at the time. I didn't see arguing over silly things, and it just, yeah, like I played back then just kind of as a casual, and the streams just were very appealing to me. Now the streams are all kind of just like, it's just kind of gameplay for the most part. That's all there is to it. You just have it tabbed in the background, just doing whatever you're doing. Like you might be playing a game, you have a stream in the background, but you're not like giving it your full attention because it's not that interesting anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, for me, I was trying to think about like what I thought was the best time in the community. And for me, there's like 2 points, but they're completely different. Because when I first started streaming, like around that time, back when like getting 15 viewers was like a shit ton back then. It was so chill in the community. You could just go anywhere and talk to anyone, ask questions, and just have a good time. So I really liked that portion. But also, once COVID started, there was just a huge influx of viewers on Twitch. So there was a lot of new people
Yeah,
coming
that's true.
in. I was experiencing a lot of growth. A lot of people were starting to stream again because they had a lot of free time. So in that period, what was that? 2020, maybe like from March until July or August. I think that has to be my
Yeah, that's
favorite
true.
time.
There was a lot going on in terms, yeah, that is very true. That was when I did my Nuketown 100 with Fast Ray. Like I noticed it as well. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody noticed it. Like there were random people from a long time ago that came back and started playing again because like
Hmm.
everyone just had tons of free time. It was crazy.
That's when I started watching a lot of competitive zombies. I was watching the first streams I was watching, in zombie. 'Cause I was really big into zombies, like ZWR wise, but I'd never actually go for world records. The first people I would watch were like you. I remember watching your Nuketown game. I knew who you were, but I never watched you live. I remember watching your Nuketown game. I remember watching MC play Baruch for his 100s, and
Mm.
then I watched a lot of Yoma and Bladen for the Easter egg speedruns. Yeah,
Or
that was like
choices.
that whole period. Yeah, that was when I was first into it. I mean, I think my favorite part of the community is pretty biased. Is pretty biased. I'd say my favorite time would be around ZWC3, but that's just because I was there. Like
Hmm.
that was the most sick experience ever. Like straight up, like meeting everyone was insane, and then like especially meeting all the like people I used to watch
Did
daily.
either of you
It's like
guys
crazy.
talk to Zarly? Did you meet
He
Zarly?
wasn't there. Riley wasn't there. I know he's a
Oh, he
DOA
wasn't
player, but
actually there.
nah.
He just
Anybody that was
played
out
in
of the
it.
country, yeah, anybody that was out of the country couldn't get
Oh.
flown out in there because of
Do you know
COVID.
Zarly?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I don't really talk to him, but yeah, he's a DOA player, so
Yeah,
he's part of the DOA community, and we talk a little bit. He's a great
yeah,
guy.
he's actually a really good player. Like he has a lot of good PBs on BO1.
Yeah, he's insane at DOA. He's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it was. I was helping him out with the pad because I was DMing him a little bit because ZWC we had to do some stuff for the event. So he was really cool to talk to. And like it was weird because there was like a language barrier, obviously, but it was like yeah,
hmm
no, he was really
Yeah.
cool. So I did talk to him in like VCs, but yeah, other than that, yeah, I didn't really say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
ZWC was fun. I definitely enjoyed
yeah, it
going.
was awesome.
It was a long
Yeah, it
weekend
was awesome.
because I had like an 8-hour work day. that Thursday. Then I left at like 2:30 a.m. Friday. And then I ended up getting home at like 3 a.m. Monday morning. And then I had an 8-hour work day that day too. So it was just a long fucking weekend going to Vegas and back. But I definitely enjoyed
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, I remember when ZW3 was like announced, I think people would ask me like, "Oh, are you gonna take part in that?" And like at first the idea of it was interesting to me. I mean, it probably was very fun to go there and meet people. Like I think that would be very cool. But when I saw the challenges and I was like, "Oh, I don't
Yeah,
play any of their shit."
BO3, BO4
Yeah, I
Cobra.
don't. I would not compete because like I don't play this stuff. I would get blown away. I was kind of just like, yeah, I'll just
Sit
watch
it
from the
out.
sidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm, that makes
pretty
sense.
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of people watching.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
yeah.
think that's gonna wrap up the questions from the community. So I think we can move
Yeah.
on to the next topic. So within the last week or so, Chris was involved in a little bit of drama, and it's all been resolved. But a lot of people have been asking about it. A lot of people have been curious. So essentially, there was a dude playing Mob of the Dead, and Chris noticed that this guy's game was a little bit sus, based on how many drops he was getting, and I believe he got a speed run. So, Chris, do you want to exactly explain what happened and how it got resolved?
Yeah, here here's the situation in a nutshell. Basically, so a player named Kezia was playing Mob of the Dead, and I noticed that his drop rate was pretty suspicious. So I kind of made a spreadsheet and was going to show people that spreadsheet and kind of uh, just to help me determine like, oh, is this like cheating? And I mean, something was definitely wrong with this game. But basically, I thought that he was doing it on purpose, and because it seemed pretty obvious to me, and there was some toxicity, a lot of toxicity from me, especially. I mean, I was being a toxic piece of shit on purpose, uh, and his friend group, so a few French players were saying some toxic things, and so that kind of pissed me off, and so I made my video that I'm sure a lot of people saw, and basically that day I had a voice chat with Furret and I talked to him in a voice chat, and then I DM'd a few of the other French players, and we kind of so the reason I was so toxic about it was pretty much, and the reason they were toxic towards me was all because of a bunch of pretty much just misinformation. Like there were things that I thought they were saying that they weren't saying, and there were things that they thought I said in the past and recently that I didn't say. And we kind of cleared that up and realized, like, oh, well, it seems like we're just basing our opinions on each other off of things we've heard that just weren't true. And we kind of just came to an agreement, like, hey, let's just stop being assholes towards each other and try to, yeah, just end the toxicity and just kind of not forget about the situation. I don't think we could forget about something like this, but just try to move forward. So, yeah, all of the French players were vouching for Kezia and saying like he's not the kind of person that would purposefully modify the game. I think I think something was just wrong on his Pluto and was breaking his drops, making them spawn too fast. And um, yeah, I don't think he was doing it on purpose. I don't think he was cheating. I guess he just didn't realize what was going on with this game,
Mm-hmm.
and so like I saw him playing yesterday, and his game was definitely legit. Like the drops were normal, everything was fine. So I don't think there's really any beef between us anymore. I'm fine with them. I think they're fine with me. I'm gonna cut the toxicity. I mean, the video is unlisted now, and plus I edited the video out, so or I edited things out of the video, like the memes and the pretty much the toxic parts.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlisted, and the reason I'm keeping it that way It's just because I still think it's interesting for people who want to go back and look at the math and like how I did it. If they want to see that whole situation, they can, and they can still find that spreadsheet if they'd like to. But yeah, we resolved all the beef between us. Like I'm not gonna be a toxic asshole anymore, and they're not gonna be toxic towards me. Like literally, all of us have DM'd each other and apologized for it. Uh, and yeah, I think I expected, and most people expected that it would just stay toxic, and that this would just be this drama that lasted a long time. But I'm glad to see that it's resolved. Like I'm typically not involved in any sort of drama. Like I can be a toxic person. I've said toxic things in the past, but I've never gone out and made like a video like this or anything. So yeah, I'm just gonna move on and not talk about the situation anymore, pretty much with anyone, and just kind of, even though I said like you can't forget about it, but just treat it that way and move forward.
Hmm. Well,
I mean, that's awesome that you guys did that.
this proves that like Twitter is really like the worst fucking place to have any beef and nothing gets
Yeah.
resolved on there. Like all
Yeah.
you have to
What?
do is like, I mean, even
Hop
just
in a
DMing
VC, bro.
someone. Yeah, but VCing,
Yeah.
having a
Yeah.
voice chat with someone and actually talking to them one on one makes it so much easier, and you don't have all this miscommunication. You don't have a language barrier as much. A lot of things on Twitter can be interpreted differently than the person intended it to be. And just Twitter fucking sucks dick,
Yeah.
man. We
And
saw
that's the
this.
biggest. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing I learned was just if you just talk it out. Like I I didn't realize that all the things I thought they were saying just weren't even true, and
Mhm.
there were things that they thought about me that weren't true. So it's like you can just clear up silly little things like that, just hopping in a voice chat and talking to the other person. Like I kind of, I mean, they were right. I threw that whole group of friends into that video because I wanted to make them mad, like because I was mad. Like
Mhm.
I wanted to create drama. Like it was a very
Yeah.
toxic thing to do, but then just talking it out kind of like within one, like literally one day, it was all over
Yeah,
between us. Like there's no drama anymore. It's all over.
I've witnessed the power of Twitter beef within the last few days or so, because we dropped that. I don't know when this is gonna drop, but we dropped that Obey Undead podcast, and basically a lot of people saw it and they had negative reactions. And I really disagree with a lot of the stuff that people are saying, but it definitely is so easy to get mad and have like toxic remarks to people on Twitter. Like I see some of the stuff they're saying and I'm like, bruh. So I end up saying some toxic shit back, and it's just a loop of toxicity, and
Yeah.
it never ends up being resolved. Everybody just believes what they believe, and somebody else's argument on Twitter is like very, very rarely going to change someone's mind. So, I mean, we
Yeah.
just end
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
fueling each other. So, I guess
Literally.
leaving it alone is the best thing to do. Or if somebody really has like beef with what we were saying, like, come talk to us about it in DMs or on VC. I just don't think
Yeah.
like tweeting at us or replying to us saying like, "Oh, this podcast is so unnecessary and over exaggerated and false," which I don't think is the case, because I mean, everything I
Yeah.
said was truthful. It's my experience, it's what I believed, and I'm sure there were some little bits and pieces of information that we were missing, but I mean, we can't possibly know every single little thing, and we're going to miss
Yeah.
stuff, but we did our best to be accurate. We are biased obviously because we're talking about our own experiences and everything, you know.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
point.
So basically, or did you have more to say
No.
about that?
Yeah. I was gonna
Oh,
say I was gonna add something. I said it a lot in the Undead podcast, like the one we just had. I was saying how like I always try my hardest to take things to the DMs when something like serious happens. Not even just like beef, but just like if something happens, just like oh Bandit ending so suddenly. I always try to take things to DMs instead of just publicly saying oh Bandit ended. Yeah, I mean yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I know a lot of people were expecting me to respond to everything because obviously I was getting called out a lot. But I just tried my hardest to keep everything in DMs and say and just try to resolve it there. But I realized even sometimes Twitter DMs isn't the right place because
Mm-hmm.
it seems like we're just both trying to prove each other wrong, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to resolve a situation. I don't want to have beef with anyone. I mean, unless somebody just hates me and just wants to always like say shit about me, that's different. But like, I'm not trying to have any unnecessary beef that can easily be resolved. I think all problems can be resolved, as Chris literally just showed, literally with
Quick
the
VC.
video that he made.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. So I
Um.
think honestly, the best way to resolve these problems is joining a voice channel and just
Yeah.
talking and making sure everything gets interpreted correctly. 'Cause I think a
Yeah.
lot of things could get misinterpreted.
Yeah. So my conclusion on the situation that I was just in is that I don't think Queza or Kezia, sorry, I don't think he was doing it on purpose. Uh, and whether he was or wasn't, um, it just doesn't even matter to me anymore because
Yeah.
I saw his gameplay yesterday and everything is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looked like he was. It didn't look like anything was wrong with the game anymore. And like anybody who is listening to this who knows about that situation, like please stop being toxic towards him because I don't think he deserves it at this point. Because it's just whether he was doing it on purpose or not. Like I said, I don't think he was, but for those who do think he was, just it's not worth it going in and giving him shit anymore since he is playing the game the way that it needs to be played now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. He's definitely not cheating. Um, yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome, man.
All right. So, that's gonna wrap up. I think I'm gonna call that like community controversy and like the timestamps because that's not just about like the Chris's situation. We're kind of just talking about like how to deal with toxicity in the community and resolve things. So I honestly I think that was a
Yeah.
pretty interesting baby mini discussion right there. But this is
Yeah.
on a somewhat related note. I know a lot of people are curious on Chris's thoughts about patching and fast array because I mean it's been a while since the fast array was super prevalent in the community, and we all know that Chris did play his Nuketown game with fast array. So I mean, I'm curious if his opinions have changed or if they're the same or anything like that. So, we're gonna get into fast ray first. I'm just curious, as of right now, what is your stance on fast ray? Are you for it or are you against it?
Um. Well, if I have to choose, I would say against. I don't care if. So I know there are some speedrunners who speedrun like uh around 30, around 50 with fast ray, and those are considered the speedruns. Like I'm pretty sure Niraj under
Mm-hmm.
Reese 50 SR is like sub 1 hour. I'm pretty sure that was with fast ray.
Yeah.
And it's like I know it saves time, but it's nothing compared to a Nuketown game where I'm pretty sure I literally saved about 40 hours to 100 because of fast ray. Like uh, over a day's worth of time. That's insane. But yeah, I think it should stay out of high rounds. Just because I mean we've pretty much always played without it, and I don't care if I see people play with it, like, but I would say that it's like pretty much a different category at that point because you just can't compare a game played just shooting normally with somebody who's playing with fast ray, especially on survival. Because I mean, when you're saving 40 hours that another person couldn't even like, they can't save any time shooting compared to you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just I feel like there's no reason to compare the two because they're so different. The time save is too big. Um, yeah, so I'm against using it in my own games. Like I haven't used it since the Nuketown 100 really. Maybe if I played like Remix Survival, they're okay with that on Remix. That's allowed. Like I mean, but Remix is its own thing. It exists completely separately from regular zombies, so
Mm-hmm.
I'd be fine with it on there, obviously. But in the normal game, nah, I'm never gonna use that again.
Do you think that we should have like a universal yes fast ray or no fast ray ruling, or do you think it's more valuable to be like game specific or map specific? Because obviously survival map is going to have a huge difference, but if we go on to something like BO1 Ascension, maybe you're going to save like 5 to 10 minutes to 70, which can make a difference in the long run, but realistically you're not going to get the world record just because you saved a couple minutes using fast ray in your first 70 rounds. So do you think like altogether it should be banned or accepted, or do you think it's a better idea to more go into the game slash map specifics?
Um, for me, I like to keep everything just uniform throughout the game. So like, I would just want it banned overall, even if it doesn't make much of a difference on the other maps, like you said. Like it just it's always seemed weird to me to have it allowed on certain maps because of a certain reason, but then like not allow it on other maps. I That's just how I am when it comes to this stuff. I mean, we're gonna get into patches, but I would feel the same way about patches. Like, just keep it uniform, have it the same throughout all the maps on the games, at least for Black Ops 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much have no part in Black Ops 3 or beyond that.
um Dog, I know you play BO3 primarily, but I have seen you play a bit of BO2. Do you have any thoughts on fast ray? Are you for or against it or anything like that?
Um, so when I was playing Town for a little bit, because there was a point where I was playing Town a lot with Orbic, around like a year ago actually, and our plan was to use fast ray. I never got high enough to the point where fast ray was gonna matter, but I know me and him were like for sure like yeah we'll just use fast ray when we do the high rounds. But now looking back at it, honestly, I think using fast ray would just be like the equivalent of just using like a patch, because like
Yeah,
you're just altering, like playing. It's not that playing with a patch is not impressive. I think just playing without a patch is just much better. Like like it kind of. I feel like a game that without fast ray compared to a game with fast ray, like you want to have the game without fast ray. Basically, it's kind of like having the classics record compared to the megas record. Obviously you'd rather have the classics record, like for a high round, for example. Like you'd rather have the classics record than the megas record. So I think splitting boards would be interesting because I am intrigued to see what round really could be achieved on town with fast ray, and same thing for like farm or like bus depot. But I wouldn't consider those game. I can't consider those games on the same leaderboard. So I think
Yeah.
maybe splitting boards would be an interesting idea, but like, nah, I can't. Having them on the same board couldn't be an outcome in my opinion.
yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
Yeah,
think that there are still people that have told me that they have interest in doing like a faster game on survival. So some people have said, "Oh, there's no point in splitting the boards because nobody even plays Fast Ray anymore." But it's like, just because there's a very small amount of people playing it doesn't mean that there shouldn't be a board. Like, if anybody ever plays it and gets like 100 plus something on town with Fast Ray, like, yeah, I'd still bring it up, but
mhm.
would always consider it
yeah,
like a different category.
for sure.
Yeah, I don't even know how I feel about faster anymore. My opinion has really like changed throughout time. I was initially like I think I was like for it, then I was against it, then I was for it, then I was against it. I actually have used it a decent amount on Derice and Ascension. I've never used it on Black Ops 2, but I like Fast Ray. I really do. I think there should be a verdict, like an official ruling about it. But the thing is, I don't care too much about it. Like if they decide to, or if we decide to fully allow it, cool, I like it and I'll use it. And if it's decided that it's not allowed, I don't really mind that either. So I wouldn't even say I'm in the middle. I would say I'm more on the pro fast race side, but I don't like it enough where I would still play with it if it was officially decided that it wasn't allowed in a game. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's definitely fun to use. I
Hmm.
guess
yeah,
one thing that kind of turned me away from it after my Nuketown game was the surprising amount of just like hate that I got for it. Like, just kind of like, oh, you're a fucking cheater, dude. Like, how could you consider this legit? Like, the game is so easy now, and it's like, I mean, I don't think it takes away or adds any skill really. Maybe if anything, it adds like a slight amount of skill since you have to. If you're using a macro, it's pretty easy to use, but I always use my mouse with the scroll wheel. So I mean, you have to learn something new to implement during your gameplay. Like so, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's fun, but yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna use it anymore.
Yeah.
Whether
Mhm.
it's allowed or not allowed, whatever happens.
Yeah, no, now that I'm just thinking about it, I'm kind of like interested in just seeing because I think if I were to use fast rate, I would 100%. If I had an exclamation point world record fit, I wouldn't
Sorry.
say like
I'm
this
sorry,
is
I'm interrupting, but I'm sorry.
what.
No, no, no. I just no. I was for you guys that don't know. I was typing. I was typing in the
Oh,
outline document.
I was
Fucking
trying
Chris, dude. Yes, I have to take a shit, and I'm gonna shit in my hand.
Do it, man.
I got
Nobody's
you.
gonna judge.
yeah.
I'm sorry, dog. Continue.
No, I was gonna say that I would use fast rate, but like if I were to use fast rate, like I would acknowledge that if I was playing town, I would acknowledge that Chris has the record, and like if I were to get 101, which probably would never happen, but if I were to get 101, like this would be the fast rate world record, and the world record would be
Mhm.
100 by Chris. But I think I actually am really interested to see how far these maps can get pushed. I think from what I remember Blem saying, I think town can be at 102, right, Chris? I feel like you would know that with fast rate.
Oh, I'd say like 104
Oh,
maybe,
really?
or like, because I
Saves a
mean, you
lot
gotta
of
think
time.
like
Okay, yeah.
if I saved 40 hours to 100 on Nuketown, and there was still about 80 hours left in my game, I think, or 70 hours left in the game, like it, yeah.
Yeah,
I played Nuketown, my game. I think the faster game ended at like 112 hours. So just think, a town game is 130 hours or 131 hours. So if I save 40 hours on Nuketown at 112 hours on town, so the trade-outs are faster on town too because of the
yeah.
box location. So like you'd probably save at 100, the 112-hour mark on town. You'd probably save like 42 plus hours,
Ooh,
making a lot of space for some
yeah.
extra rounds for
And there's
sure.
a lot of shit you can do on town, right? Like you can like hit box while you have the gun and pap and shit like that. Just like some small stuff that just
You
make you faster.
can on that map. I've never really papped while hitting the box, or like, did you mean pack a
Oh,
punching a ray
not
gun and
even.
then hitting the box to try and get another ray
Yeah,
gun?
not even just that though. I was saying like when the box is moving, like pap your
Oh yeah,
python and then shoot the
yeah,
zombie.
yeah, yeah. You can do stuff like that, and fast ray would help with that as
Yeah,
well.
I can't imagine. I didn't even think about that. You'd be able to use a whole entire fucking python. That's an exaggeration, but you'd be able to use a lot of ammo. I bet. Would you do that with the ray gun? Is that like optimal?
Wait, say it again.
Like
Sorry,
like
I
pet
spaced out for a second.
put the ray gun in the pap and then go hit box.
Um, I don't. Well, it depends how you're playing. If you're playing no jug, you don't need to keep Mustang
Yeah,
and Sally. So at that point, it could be worth it. But if you're playing normally and you need to keep Mustang and Sally till 100, no, because you can't even pick up the second ray gun then, so it would be worthless.
yeah,
Um,
Mm.
unless it was like if you like were papping a ray gun, then hit the box and got a Mark II, I would take the Mark II and just let the ray gun go away in the pap. But I think on town, I've never really tried to get two ray guns anyways because of the box locations, like where they are relative to the pack-a-punch machine. Like it's kind of sketchy, especially if you have no jug like that.
yeah.
Mhm.
I can't
You
imagine
could make
doing
a
trade outs.
mistake. Yeah,
Seems kind of
Yeah,
inconvenient.
just pack-a-punching. Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. It's convenient on Nuketown only for the most part. But
Mhm.
like
yeah,
even just pack-a-punching with no jug on town is sketchy because so when you touch lava on town, if it's a big lava pit, every time you get damaged, it's 15 health. If it's a small lava crack, it's 6 health. So just imagine, like, I mean, every time you pack a punch, you're pretty much making yourself one hit to the zombies.
Mhm.
So you have
yeah.
to be
God,
very careful.
How much
damn,
health
bro.
do you have without jug? Like,
100.
100, yeah.
And a zombie does 60 damage when they hit you.
Six, really? 60? I thought it was 50.
Yes.
Oh,
No, it's 60. It's
Okay.
60. So, like, yeah, when you get hit 4 times, you're red screen and you literally only have 10 health left.
yeah.
That's why, you know what, like, a fake red screen is? Or not a
Yeah.
fake red
Yeah.
screen, but
Fake
You
red
there are
get
red
hit.
screens that happen where you still have enough health to get hit
Mhm.
again, and you won't die, so people get very confused when that
I've seen
happens.
that
They're
clip
like,
of
"Wait."
Nick. There's a clip of Nick on Ascension, and it happens.
Well, I think he
Or
just
if you've seen
regened right
people,
before, and the red screen didn't disappear yet.
that can happen too. Yeah, I think that's a different situation. Or specifically, like if we're talking about Mob of the Dead, if you get red screened and then um, you can get red screened. So like when you shoot the gat and it explodes on you, each shot actually only does 10 damage to you. Like the explosions kind of barely hurt you at all.
Hmm.
Um, So if you shoot yourself a few times and then get hit like 3 times by zombies, you'll be red screen, but then you can still take like quite a few acid gas shots until you die, and people will always be like, "Oh, that looks suspicious. Like you were just red screen and got hit by all
Yeah.
these shots. Like how are you still alive?" And it's like, well, you don't know how the health is working with the acid gas, so don't be
Mm.
talking shit.
Yeah, I was always so
Yeah.
confused when I used to play Mob of the Dead back in the day when I was god awful. Like I would always get trapped in corners and just like spam the gat, and I was stupid, so I would like shoot my feet a lot, and I would not die most of the time, and I would just be getting hit constantly with the acid gat shots, and sometimes get hit by zombies. It was just really confusing to me. I didn't know how I was always surviving, but that makes a lot of sense because I definitely didn't understand the
Yeah.
mechanics at that point.
But the thing is, if you do get hit 4 times by zombies and then shoot an acid gas shot and you're trapped, you die every time because you only have 10 health left and that
240, yeah,
shot does 10 damage to you, so you always die.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Mm.
Huh,
Yeah.
all right. I think that will bring us into our next topic. I think we can go a little bit into patching. I don't think we need to go super deep, but so I'm just gonna go first into my stance on patching, and it's not really black and white, and it's a little bit different than a lot of people because I don't go for world records. Um, but for me personally, I enjoy patching because I am at this point in my zombie career, I am never gonna go for a world record. So there's no point in me restarting for something that I could just get every single time. That's one reason. Another reason for me is I'm still learning all these maps. So I like to patch and get my first box weapon on first box maps because I need to get better at these maps. And if I just restart, I'm only going to have a chance like 1 in 10 games or something. So I'm just not going to be able to progress as much. Um, and then I also have opinion about world record games. I think patches are cool, to be honest. I think that a first box patch on a map that you would restart for anyway, I think it's cool. And I do think it is comparable to a non-patched game. You do save a tiny bit of time on like the speed runs, like a 30, but realistically, like if you're restarting for first box on a map, I think that it's okay to use a patch. But I know the majority of the community disagrees with me. But then I also know that because I'm not going for world records, I don't know how valid my opinion is because like I can think this all I want, but I'm not the kind of person that's going to be actually going for these records or competing against other people who are using patches or not. So I don't know. It's
Hmm.
kind of complicated where I stand. It's not concrete yes or concrete no. It's just kind of I like them. Yeah,
Yeah.
what about you, Chris?
So I used to have that same mindset actually. I didn't like I I don't really think using a patch like saves much time at all. So or saves time like starting, but just like in the long run of a game, it doesn't save much time. Like I see the positives for it, and I know a lot of people still do patch, especially on Black Ops 2. There's a lot of first box patches being used in high round games. Now I don't care what other people do at this point, but I still don't like them. Like I changed my mind, and I think there's a common misconception that ever since I was patching 2 years ago, that everything I've ever played since then has been patched, and in the minds of a lot of people, not legit. But that's not true. Um, so I used to stream a lot 2 years ago. It was after the Nuketown 100 with Fast Ray. I'm pretty sure that was the first time somebody ever gave me a patch because I saw there were patches on Black Ops 1 before there ever were on Black Ops 2. And so I was just like, huh, like that'd be nice if somebody could make that for Black Ops 2 so I could just like practice and do like speed runs and get faster at the game. So once I got a hold of some, I was patching like all the time and streaming, but I was pretty much just practicing. Like I never got any records or claimed any records. I know people look at my town sub 3030 and say like, oh well that's the record. I mean, I still consider it the patched record, yeah, but the SR without a patch, I'm pretty sure is still like 30 minutes 20 seconds. Yeah, and so 3020 is the non-patched SR on town, and I think I already said I've never really claimed any records with the patch, but um, ever since I was patching my games, like just practicing the game back then, I haven't really patched since since then at all. Like I think I'm trying to remember back like when I stopped using the patches. I don't remember what I was doing. I'm pretty sure I stopped kind of playing like high rounds overall for a while in anticipation for DOA 3 coming out. Um and that was when I believe you guys know the fast tank strat on Origins.
Yeah.
I didn't. So by no means did I make that strat. I don't. I don't really remember how it all played out, but like somebody had brought it up and like showed me some gameplay, and so I started playing that. And I remember I didn't even have plans to play Origins at all, and I still don't. But it was just a really fun strat, and I was just playing it, trying to find like the fastest way to do it, just like optimizing the strat in a way. Uh,
Mhm.
and so then DOA 3 came out, and I literally like just stopped playing zombies for at least a half a year. I didn't even load into a game of zombies. I was hooked to DOA 3. Um, and then yeah, every zombies game I've played after that I haven't patched. So my the way I look at it is like I said earlier with Fast Ray, how I'd like to keep the game kind of uniform with everything. Like, I don't mind if other people want to patch for high rounds because it is kind of a convenience thing. But I always think it should be mentioned when like, oh, I got this round on this map, but I used a patch, like I used a box patch. It's like I don't really care because at this point, no matter what I say or anyone says or any rule set says or yeah, any sort of vote could be taken, and people are still going to do what they want to do. So that's why I don't really mind when other people do it, but I'm not going to use it. And I got another reason I don't want to use it is because like I used it so much back in the day, and like I was advocating for like back in that time for like people using it in record games. So I guess the difference now is the fact that I've just changed my mind. I don't think it should be used for records because like um I don't know. It just, I guess, it just kind of feels dirty to me in a way. Like you're you're starting, at least for me. Like I start up a game, and I feel like when I get what I want every time, like immediately, even though it doesn't really save much time, like it still, for me, makes me play different. Because when I restart for hours and finally get a setup, and I lose some time, um, like, I don't care about that time loss. I just kind of brush it off and keep going. And then, like, if I take a few downs, and I'm referring to Mob of the Dead again, if I take a few downs, I'll just keep playing because I'm like, fuck, well, I don't really want to have to restart this shit. Like you kind of have to cut your losses when you're not playing with the patch, and I think
Mhm.
that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Because when I was patching, it became very toxic for me where it was like, oh, I lost 10 seconds compared to my last game. Oh, I'm just going to restart, even if it was like 30 rounds into the game or something.
Yeah.
Even
Mhm.
though back then, like, I didn't even have a goal. Like, I was just playing for practice and I was still restarting for like the fastest times possible. So I guess I just don't want it to turn into that. And I mean, the thing is, maybe that's just my mindset with it. Maybe other people won't get that toxic mindset of, no, I don't want to continue this game. And just because I'm like 10, 20 seconds slower than my last run. No, that's how it is for me. So it's more just a personal thing. I couldn't ever use a patch and feel okay with it, but I know specifically Black Ops 2, a lot of the community, specifically for Origins and Mob of the Dead,
Mm.
they're fine with patches because it only influences the beginning of the game. You hit the box and get the guns you need, and you never hit the box again. So, like, I totally get it, but I don't advocate for it anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember hearing that argument that you were talking about where if you use a patch, you can like play more risky. A lot of people end up restarting more, and I definitely do agree with that point. I don't think it should be outlawed simply because of that, but I think that is definitely good to take into consideration, and it does contribute to like people being more of a perfectionist. And I think realistically you're gonna I don't know. It really
Kind of
depends on the
restart for that
player.
anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It
I
just
kind of forgot what I was gonna say.
I think it does depend on the player. Cause like me, even if I lose time and I'm patching, I'm not gonna restart just because I'm gonna get it again. But I know that somebody at the competitive world record level is going to. And I think for them, like they really might get into less games with a patch because they're being such perfectionists. But when it comes to somebody at
Hmm.
my level, I'm gonna get in significantly more games and get significantly better at the map
Yeah.
because I'm using it. But
Yeah.
it really does
And
vary.
that's a reason why people advocate for it. That's what I was gonna say. Like people think that, oh well, people will patch and so they have more chances to get into more games, and therefore the record could be pushed easier. Not easier in terms of skill, but easier just like if more people are getting into more games,
Hmm.
you could see more progression on any map faster. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it should be a thing, but there's so many people using it at this point. I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it really, because I was there as well using them and advocating for it. Like I see the merit in both sides of the argument for sure.
Yeah. I'm on the same boat, literally. I mean, with round speedruns on BO3, I think it's across the board that they're not allowed. I think everybody's had the same stance on that too, uh, except for a handful of players in the past, including myself. I used to think like restarting for like a T gun first box was fine, but then it got to the point where it was like I was in the same like situation as Chris, where it was like I'd lose 10 seconds and I'd just restart. So then I realized like okay, for a 30 SR like a 50 SR, it's really not good to patch, and I think it's kind of the same thing with high rounds. I think if you're doing a map like Moon, for example, where you need like a QED out of the first box, I think that's fine. Something like that to patch, where it's not really the same as like a lot of other maps. But I feel like if you are going to patch, it still should be separated or should definitely be labeled that you did patch. It shouldn't be like as if you were just playing or comparing your game to a normal game because I mean it's gonna be like this forever. But patched games are never gonna be held at the same high standard or prestige as a
Yeah.
regular game. Like it's just it'll never happen. No matter if you patch backspeed, just like the 229 on 5, like give me the smallest patch or like even sometimes cosmetic patches. I remember on BO3, the Moon and Easter egg speedruns, the co-op ones, he used a anime cosmetic patch which made it so his character was anime girls. And even those games were like, yeah, like people were just like, even though it was something so simple like that, people were like, well, the game is patched. He used a cosmetic patch, but so it's like simple shit like that. Like no matter what you use, like your game is gonna be tinted. So it's more of like what your personal preference is, in my opinion. Like if you don't care what other people think and you don't want to waste your IRL time, which I totally respect. I understand a lot of people don't have the time to be restarting hours on end just for like a game. Like they all they want to do is just hop on and get a game and try and get the high round. I understand that, but I think for sure you need a. If I think for sure that you have to split yourself between the patch games and the
Yeah.
regular games for
And
sure.
the thing is, whether there's actually an official leaderboard made for patched slash non-patched games, like no matter what, it will still exist in people's minds. Like, oh, this was patched and this wasn't. Like, this game was patched, but that game wasn't patched. Like, so whether there's an official board or not, like people are gonna split it no matter what.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's why I think it would be good to make a split board. What even if there's not gonna be a lot of people playing on the patched board
Mhm.
because like that was an argument in that BO2 discussion like whenever what a month ago maybe when that happened
Yeah.
people were saying like oh well if you split the boards like nobody's going to want to play on the patched boards because like it's not held to the same standard as the normal game and it's kind of like well I mean
It's
yeah
just how it
I'm
is.
just
I
repeating what
mean,
I just said at that point like yeah people are going to they're going
yeah,
to keep track
literally,
of patch versus non-patched anyways so it's kind of
exactly.
just how
Like
it is.
you just gotta play how you like want to play. Like if you care more about what other people think of your record, then just you can't. If you want to have the highest standard record, then don't play. You can't. You have to play legit. Like don't play with any patches. Because no matter
Exactly.
what you use, if you play with a patch, your game is automatically gonna be tinted. Like it's just how it is. It'll
Hmm.
always be like that. Even if you use a simple first box patch and you try persuading everyone, it's gonna be literally impossible. Your game is not gonna be the same as a game that wasn't patched.
Yeah.
So if you care more, if you only just care about yourself and just getting the record, then honestly, this whatever you want to do. If you care more about other people and what they think, then obviously, I think for sure you should play with not a patch. So I mean, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, we've seen how people react to patched games. Like with your game, no matter how much you like explain, like the patch isn't a big deal because it's like in
yeah,
megas and you're gonna get it anyway. Like you're still gonna get shit for it from like a large portion of the community. And like if you're not willing to take that criticism or shit from people, then like I don't think it's worth it.
mhm,
Then just don't do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what people need to realize. You will always get shit from other people. And even if you play without a patch, you get shit from people that play with patches because they're like, why
Hmm.
aren't you just playing with a patch, bro? Like I get that a lot. I get like you're wasting your time. Like what the fuck are you doing?
that's funny.
And it's just like yeah, at this point where the community is at a point where it will give you shit no matter what you do. So you kind of both sides have to be able to take that criticism, sadly.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah. All right. And anything else you guys want to bring up about patching before we move on?
No,
No.
I think that's it. Yeah.
All right. I think that's gonna bring us into our next topic, which is motivation for zombies. And I think this is really I think this is an important topic because it's something that pretty much everyone in the entire community struggles with because it's literally impossible to stay motivated 24/7 in a game that's going to fuck you over half the time and a large percent of the time you're going to fuck up and it's just hard to keep that passion and that motivation to keep going and keep grinding when not only the game fucks you over, you fuck yourself over. You may see other people that are doing better than you. And there's all these factors combined can really make it a negative experience mentally. And Chris, like from what I've seen, at least in the past of the survival maps, you're one of the biggest grinders. I know you like played for a while and then stopped playing, but like playing a map for 130 hours and also playing multiple survival maps Like that's a fucking grind. It's
Yeah.
so many hours, a lot of repetition. Like how did you keep yourself motivated to keep going with all those games?
Um, so kind of going back to earlier when I talked about like how I got into Black Ops 2 high rounds, and like I got that 92 on Nuketown. I think the motivation came from at that point I knew I was capable of like records on the like other maps that I wanted to play, and just having that in the back of my mind, like if you know you can do something and you're willing to put in the time, even though I mean, yeah, it gets boring. Like even if you're motivated, the motivation isn't gonna take away that factor of like once you get far into the game, especially on survival, once the zombies kind of stop dying on the really high rounds, it's not exactly that fun anymore. And so I guess for me, it's just like I knew I could do it, and whether I was really enjoying it or not, I just knew that if I just sat there through it and pushed through, that I could reach my goal. Like, yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Like, but the more I played it, the less motivation I had.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if you're playing and you already don't have motivation and you don't even think that you're capable of your goal, like you're probably never going to reach it,
Mm.
because you don't like you have to believe in yourself to be able to do anything like that. Like it's been I'm not going to like go into details with DOA, but a lot of the DOA records are very, very hard at this point to reach.
Mhm.
And there was a time where just a year ago, I'd never thought I would be capable of like the DOA 2 solo or the DOA 2 co-op or the DOA 3 solo. Well, I knew I could get the DOA 3 solo record, but I didn't think I'd get to round 240 like I have now. Um, but once I just got better at the game, and once I changed my mindset and knew what I was like capable of, and just kept that positive mindset while I played, um, I finally eventually reached my goals. So you just gotta stay positive, and you have to tell yourself that you can reach your goals. If you don't even believe that you can do the things you want to do, it's never gonna happen.
Do you feel like when you, let's say you're playing Town or Nuketown or whatever, DOA maybe, and you get to this goal, like you got to your 100 on Town, do you feel like it's all worth it? Like, or is it just like not really worth all the hours that you
Uh,
put in? I'm very curious because I've never really achieved something like that.
yeah, so it just depends. At this point, I feel differently than I did back then. It
Hmm.
did feel very worth it at the time for the survival map records. Um, at this point, I hold myself to a higher standard now, and I know I'm a lot better. So maybe it's sad to hear this, but I mean, I don't really care about my survival records anymore, just because I know I'm capable of beating them all, but simply don't have the motivation to play any of them again, because I really don't enjoy them at all at this point. I mean, sometimes I load into a town game, like just because I usually don't have the motivation doesn't mean every once in a while it sounds fun, and I'll load up a game and see what I can do. But I'd say for the DOA one, since I think I'm most passionate about that, like those ones feel the most worth it to me. I'm very proud of all of those, and I look back and I'm very happy that I achieved all the rounds that I have, and reached pretty much most of my goals at this point on that game. Um, I mean, I'm still happy that the survival map records happen, but I'd say were those ones worth it to me? I lean more towards saying no at this point. Um, they don't really feel all that rewarding, and it might just be because I just yeah, like I said, I hold myself to a higher standard now, and I really don't think they're that impressive. I guess I've said this to people before, and they're like, "How? I mean, you survived so long into the game. Like, it is a long ass game." And yeah, that's true. I do see other people who have played faster than me on survival,
Mhm.
but they take 4 downs, so they game over.
Yeah,
And just I don't know. I think back then I used to, rather than prioritizing like playing as fast as possible, I just kind of played it a little more safe to make sure I could get the rounds that I wanted. And to me, yeah, they're just not as impressive anymore. So
yeah,
I I do appreciate it when people do this. They'll say like, "Oh, you're a legend." Like the people will come into my chats and be like, "Is this the Town 100 legend? Like this guy is insane." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you, man." I'm always thinking to myself like, these people don't realize like I'm really not like too crazy about that anymore. Like it kind of just in the back of my mind is like, "Yeah, I did it. Yeah, it's just something that kind of happened at this point." So yeah, I think that's all I got to say about that. I guess I was passionate about it then, so it was rewarding and it felt really good. But as time has passed, I'm kind of just like, yeah, it kind of does seem like it was, or feel like it was a waste of time. Like if I got 240 on mob, which is the goal round, I like that's the round I would want to reach if I got the record.
Mhm.
I would be very satisfied with that and probably feel very happy because I think 240 on mob would be like a very, very crazy game. I don't even, if I got a crazy game, it might just be 239 reset. It might not even be 240 based on like the calculations I've done and how perfect I think the game really needs to be.
Mhm.
So it's just, I guess it's just because I really, for my, yeah, to conclude my thoughts on this, it's pretty much those games that I played aren't up to my standards today, so I don't really care too much about them anymore, and that's why I like my DOA records a lot more, because I think they're very crazy games that I played that I'm proud of.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that us as humans, especially in the zombies community, can just never be satisfied with our accomplishments. I mean,
Yeah,
like no
yeah,
matter what you do, it's so easy to feel inadequate and feel like you could do better in that. And especially as in the zombies community, as time goes on and you see your evolution of skill and other like things that people have discovered, it's just like you spent all these hours on this record and you were super proud of it at the time, and then you're here and you're just like, shit, I spent all
and you're
these
just like, yeah, it is
hours
what it is.
and it's meh. I could do better, but I don't want to. I don't know. Humans are fucking weird, and we can
Yeah,
really never
that's
be satisfied. That's, I mean, that
so
it's good
remember I
and
said
bad.
earlier, yeah, I said earlier like there was one point where I was like, oh, I never truly made it a goal, but I thought about it sometimes, just like it'd be cool to have every high round record on Black Ops 2. But yeah, like I've thought about that a lot, what you just said, where it's like we never truly feel satisfied. So that's why I've kind of never actually done that, where it's just like I don't know, I feel satisfied with the DOA records, but you'll still see me playing and trying to beat them anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Because like in a way, even though they're very good games to me that I'm happy about, like I still know I could do better. I guess it's just the fact that it's like nobody in zombies will ever get a perfect game of anything. I don't
Mm-hmm.
believe it's never going to happen. So just in the back of our minds, it's like we're always just like, oh well, this could have been better or that could have been better, and so yeah, we're just never satisfied.
Yeah.
yeah,
Honestly, these kind of thoughts are making me think about something. Like, if we think about life this way, it's like super toxic. Like, okay, I'm never gonna be
Hmm.
satisfied, so why even do this? And it's just like, I don't know. That mindset, it just can never be good. It's just very
Yeah.
negative. Like if you don't try to do things and don't put effort in because you know that like you're not even going to be satisfied with yourself in the end and that you could always do better. It's just definitely
Hmm.
not a good mindset to have, but it's very easy to get into that state when like things are not going great.
Yeah. I don't. Well, yeah, that's a bad mindset for anything in life.
Yeah.
Except I don't know if it's necessarily bad for zombies specifically though. I mean,
Yes.
if you have goals and you know you want to reach them no matter what, like you're not going to give up until you've reached your goals and you have that mindset, like that's bad. Because
Mhm.
how are you going to reach your goals if you just tell yourself, "Oh, I'm never going to be satisfied. I'm not going to play." Like if you don't play, you're not going to do it. But also, I think it's a good mindset for the people that just they reach a goal and then they have to set a new goal for themselves and then maybe they reach that goal and they told themselves like, all right, after this I'll be done, but then they reach that goal and then they're like, oh well, now I want to do this. That was kind of how I was after I got 100 on town. Like I that was my only goal and I actually told myself, I was like, this is the only map I'm ever going to go for the record on. Like I don't give a fuck about the other ones, they don't matter to me, I don't have fun on them. And then as soon as I got 100 on town, my mindset shifted. I was just like, I know I could do this on farm. Like, I know I could do this on Nuketown as well. Why don't I just do that? And
Mhm.
so it's just like, I feel like the more you get, like, you're still gonna, even if you've told yourself you don't want to play more, like a lot of people kind of fall into that, I guess you could say, trap of just wanting more anyways and going back for more on something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess as you get more accomplishments, like you get more ambitious and it just like never stops. Because I mean, we're greedy. I don't even know if greedy is the
Yeah,
right word,
yeah,
but like
exactly.
once you get
I mean,
something, you
yeah,
want
I think
more
that's
and you want
a good way to
more.
say it.
Yeah, like realistically, or it would be good to think like, oh, you get like a nice house and a nice job and a family and you're like all good and you don't want to get more, but a lot of times people like will just want more and more and they get a nicer house and a nicer car and everything and they're just not satisfied and they just keep going and like the more you have it definitely is easier to just like, oh, I just have to do a little bit more or do this and I can get a little bit better. And like I feel like it's really hard to be like self-aware and just stop and be like,
And be
I'm
content
content
with
with
what you
what.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is hard. And I mean, everybody has their struggles with that in different ways, I think.
Hmm.
Um,
i
yeah.
I think that
So, like, I mean, these days, well, we were like, this all started from motivation. I mean,
mhm.
I already said this many times throughout this, but yeah, I don't have that same motivation anymore because, I mean, it's probably because I've thought about this conversation we had, like, it's played out so many times in my head. And I think I've realized, like, I mean, another factor to it, for me at least, is like, it's almost like we're trying to prove ourselves in a way rather than just having the records and like w- wanting more. It's also kind of like, well, I want to prove that like I'm the best at this
Mhm.
or this or this or whatever it might be. And sometimes I'm at times where I load up a zombies game and I'm restarting, and after a few restarts, I just get off because not only am I bored, but I tell myself like, what am I even trying to prove at this point? Like, I feel like I've done a lot of great things on this game, and like I know I'm good, and other people know I'm pretty good. So, I mean, I guess that again can be kind of a toxic mindset too. If you have goals and you just tell yourself, like, oh, well, I know I can do it, but what's the point? So I'm not going to do it.
Mhm.
I don't know. But yeah, that kind of pushes me away from zombies sometimes too, where I'm just like, like it's cool to want to get this record, but like, what am I even trying to prove at this point? Like, yeah, I think that's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that definitely. wraps it up. But I mean, before we move on, I do want to say like I'm just like shocked at how much motivation and dedication some people have in this community. Like you, even though you don't play like normal zombies anymore, like some of the shit I've seen from you, I was just
Hmm.
like, how the fuck do you do that? And then like Fur and
Yeah.
Slayer with the
Zamba,
amount of years they've been playing. Who? Zomba?
Zamba,
Oh my
yeah,
god.
Zamba.
Dude, I just don't know how
That
these people
guy's
keep coming back.
crazy. Is he live right now, dude? Let me see if he's
Probably.
live right now.
Probably. But like
Oh no,
these
he's
people
not. He
just
was live though, bro. That guy is crazy, dude.
I
I
think
love
he
Zamba
just has
though.
a goal
Zomba.
and
I think
does
for Zomba, yeah, he's probably not gonna give up until he reaches his goal.
Yeah,
fucking dedicated. I respect him, man.
yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, 10-hour stream, 1 hour, 2 hour stream, 14-hour stream, 18-hour stream,
Jesus
Damn.
fucking
4 hour stream.
Christ.
And these are 5 streams in 4 days.
Bro, I can't even stream for like 2 hours
Damn.
nowadays with my motivation.
Holy shit. Yeah, no, he's crazy, bro. And I mean, I don't think he's in the game right now. I don't want to assume, but I'm pretty positive he's in the main menu. So
Damn.
yeah, I mean, he's dedicated. I mean, he's restarted for like perfect RNG. He comes back to the patching situation. Like you could just patch, but
Yeah, I don't really watch him a lot, but I hear that people kind of think that he does restart
a little too much.
a little too much at
Yeah,
points in the game where like, yeah, he's lost some time, but you really never know what could happen on Black Ops
yeah,
1 on the maps where the RNG like kind of overall determines the outcome. Like,
hmm
okay, you had a few really bad trades and lost a half hour or more, but you might have the least instas missed we've ever seen in this game or something. But
yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Well, yeah,
who am I to
Zamba.
even talk because I quit out of all my mob games when I take too many downs or something. So I totally get it though.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
totally
Zamba
get
is in that same boat. Like he will only go for a subset. I think that's his goal is to get like he only plays out games with sub 6s. That like he wants to get a sub 6 in his 100 time,
I just
which
don't
is
think
like
that's
only 18.
necessary.
Only yeah, I'm not positive if that's his goal, but that's what it seems like because I'll see him get like a 20-minute trade and then he becomes like maybe 20 minutes behind for it or 20 hit trade, not 20 minute. He'll get like a 20 to 30 hit trade on like 70 something, and then I'll just make him quit out. He'll just quit out after that.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that. I understand why people think it's a little extreme, but I think he just wants to get that sub 6 in his game. But his first game, I mean, I think it's no joke now that Ascension is probably the most maxed out map on BO1 for sure now. Like that 244 is pretty
Like
crazy.
it's still beatable, but it's just like,
It's
is it really
like
gonna happen though?
yeah, I mean we're talking about like fastest 100 time, fastest instas time, like fastest everything in that game. So
Hmm.
A lot of little
like
innovations
it's
that were never done before that
oh
are
yeah,
easy as well. It's just like, and you
yeah,
not only have to like play fast, you have to play safe, or you have to play consistently fast and not die for 70
yeah,
hours. It's like, bro, not a
Yeah,
lot of
you
people
got
can do
one
that.
QR on the Black Ops 1 maps as
yeah.
well. One
And
QR, like,
There's a
oh
lot of small
hell no.
things.
yeah, it's
A lot of small
crazy.
things.
All right. I think that's going to bring us into our final topic, which honestly, it's like one of my favorite things to talk about on the podcast because it's not very often that we talk about IRL stuff on the podcast, but we're going to go into that. We're going to talk about Chris, me, dog, all that kind of stuff. So, Chris, what exactly are you doing in life right now?
So, I'm kind of, it's been kind of boring lately. I don't really have too much to talk about, this last year at least. So I do have plans for what I want to do and things I want to change, but I mean, lately, I, uh, I kind of just have been playing games for the most part. I don't have a job at the moment, but something I have talked about on stream but don't usually talk about is like I was smoking weed a lot and so basically the job that I'm looking to get I need to get clean before I can get this job. And so right now, like, I mean, I only decided this within the last couple weeks that this is the job that I'm going for, U.S. Postal Service, because I think it would fit me well, and they got really good benefits.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think right now I'm kind of hanging tight and trying to get clean because over the last like couple of years I kind of was just smoking too much, and I think it takes like 3 to 4 months to get clean after stopping.
That's
So I
crazy.
stopped about 6 weeks ago, a little longer than 6 weeks ago.
Nice.
Um,
Respect.
and yeah, I don't know. I was doing it way too much for a while, like, and it just became a bad habit, like a really bad habit. It felt like it was like all that I ever wanted to do. Like I never wanted to do anything if I wasn't high. And
Yeah.
that was how I fell asleep at night. That was like what was making me hungry. It gave me an appetite, like,
Mhm.
but eventually towards the end, it was like hurting me more than anything, like literally hurting me, like it was giving me back pain from coughing so much.
Mm.
But I mean, it wasn't just from the coughing. I know Mike was just like, "Damn, I never heard." Like the face you just made, you're probably thinking like, "I never heard of back pain from that." But basically, a few months ago, I was going downstairs late at night and I slipped on like the sixth step or something and fell on my back.
Oh.
Uh, and then like slid down the rest of the stairs, and I like landed on my left side of my back really bad, like, and uh it really fucking hurt.
Did you go to the
And
Uh,
doctors?
th- no, I
Typical
didn't.
fucking
I didn't never.
man. What do men never go to the doctors when they hurt themselves? What the fuck is up with that?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. But yeah, I never went and got it checked out or anything.
how
And I
long
actually,
ago?
it was a few months ago.
Okay.
I'm fine now. Like I don't feel any back pain now, so like it's all good. I guess I resolved it in the end. But yeah, so I like fell down the stairs, and then like I mean I would go down to my garage to smoke because like I didn't want to do it in my room, and like, that's what I was doing. I was going downstairs to go to the garage to smoke. And so, like, I was in this terrible back pain. I was having this terrible back pain. And I went to the garage anyways. And I was like, fuck, like, I know this is going to hurt my back because, like, every time I smoke, I would cough. Like, some people can smoke and not cough. But
Mhm.
me, nah. It always makes me cough like a little bitch. And, but I just did it anyways, and I kept on doing it, and it was just making the pain worse. And
Mm.
so, like, I think I started smoking a little less for a few days to make the back pain try to, like, kind of ease away slowly. And it actually went away, like, after about a week. It was gone completely. And then one day, I went down to my garage to smoke, and I, like, I smoked out of a bong, and like I took a fat rip and like was coughing for about like 3 minutes straight, and it just
Jesus.
completely brought back the back pain, like in the same spot and everything. I had like probably pulled a muscle in my back somehow, like coughing the way I was, like I was hacking pretty much. And yeah, it brought it back in full effect,
Was that the
and
turning
I
point?
hated it. I
Like where
just
you decided that like shit, like I
Yeah.
really need to stop
Enough.
smoking, or was
pretty
it
much like
more of a
I kept doing it a little bit more, and like I was at that point it was giving me headaches at the end of the night, so like I
mm,
said earlier, I was using it to be able to fall asleep, but at that point I couldn't even use it to fall asleep because like I was just in pain, like my back was hurting so bad. And I actually ran out eventually, and I just decided, like, I've got this pain and I don't have any more, and I don't have a job. So like, I mean, I have money saved up, like,
mhm,
and my parents make me pay rent. Like I'm fine financially, so it's not like I'm spending all the rest of my money on it. But I just decided like I don't want to spend any more money on this shit. I know I probably need to get clean. And I didn't know what job I was looking for back then, like what I was gonna do. But I knew I would need to get clean anyways, and just wanted to be healthier overall. Like I know most people kind of think that smoking weed isn't that bad for your lungs because it's not nicotine and like I mean I disagree. I still think it's terrible. I mean every time I did it I was like I coughed so much and it like hurt my chest. So it's
Yeah.
just like I think it's silly to say that it's not bad for you. Like it's definitely not good for your lungs. Like so I guess there's a lot of reasons I stopped. And pretty much right now what I'm doing I've just been playing DOA and I've had a lot of goals that I've been trying to reach for a long time and I've almost reached every single one of them. So uh I'm gonna wait a few more weeks I think to apply for this job
Hmm.
and I'm gonna start working out again. Like I said earlier, I
Yeah.
might go after this and try to get back into that groove. Um, I've been wanting to for a while, but I don't know. I just make excuses and I've been lazy, so I need to stop doing that. But yeah, like that's pretty much what I've had going on lately. I'm just hanging tight until I can get this job,
Yeah, bro.
and then from that point, I don't know. But in terms of like zombies and what I want to do, like still do. So I have the co-op and the solo record for DOA 2 and the co-op
Hmm.
and solo record for DOA 3, but I don't have any records on DOA 1. So that's kind of my priority right now is to get the solo record so I can have it for all the DOAs. But after that, I don't really know like if I'm gonna play much normal zombies. I don't want to say I'm never gonna come out and say I'm done because like I know I get random waves of motivation here and there and I'll really want to play. So it's just like maybe if I get that motivation I can do the mob record, but I don't know. My motivation comes and goes and it usually doesn't last very long at all. So I
Yeah.
won't be surprised at this point if I never get another zombies record again
Damn.
and that but that doesn't really bother me though. I kind of like I care enough to where like I still think about it and it would be cool, but it's just like I guess it's not so high on the priority list for me anymore. It just kind of doesn't matter. I guess I've already done so many things on this game and I don't enjoy it as much anymore, so to me it's just like if it happens and I get that good game and I actually make it to reset, that's awesome, but yeah, just isn't, something I care as much for anymore.
That makes a lot of sense. For me, it's just like really easy to like not even think about zombies. Like it's I don't have motivation very often anymore because like as soon as I get busy doing stuff IRL, like I just completely forget about zombies and streaming, and like it just doesn't come across my mind at all. Like as soon as I find something IRL, like for me, I honestly just turn to zombies and get motivation when life like sucks. So like it's really easy to just go away from zombies and not come back for a while when you have other things going for you. Like assume once you start going to
Mhm.
the gym more and once you get your job and whatever else, like yeah, it's probably
Probably
gonna
won't
be.
wanna play as much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's.
agree. Um, and I think it's easier to not really care so much anymore just because there's obviously still a community, but, I mean, there's not that many people playing, like, you don't I feel like a lot of people get motivated when they see another streamer streaming a map that interests them
Mm-hmm.
or somebody, especially somebody who plays that map well. Like you see them playing and you're like, oh shit, like this is motivating me to play. Like I'm gonna hop on and play this too. But now it's like, I don't know. What like who streams regularly really? Like Samba, I know Jermaine streams regularly,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like they're playing maps where it's like the record is so hard anyways, so
Yeah.
even if it motivates other people to get on and play it, like they'll probably after a couple restarts be like, "Wait, like what the fuck am I doing? Like this shit is so hard anyways."
Yeah.
Unless your record or sorry, unless your goal isn't the record, like if you just play to kind of go for PBs and play, like I feel like that's a different story, but I don't
Mm.
know. I feel like a lot of people just kind of want to go for records anymore, but they don't really do it because records are so pushed and there's not even really that much of a community anymore. So nobody gets motivated from each other anymore.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah. I,
I
I mean, I had that mindset. Like, I was not motivated when I was so beginning of November. I've talked about this on the podcast before. When I started wrestling again, because last year in wrestling was weird because obviously COVID, and wrestling's probably the worst sport to have on during COVID, especially. Uh, so this year was actually like my first time in a wrestling season, cutting weight and everything, while playing zombies, I guess competitively. And once I started getting back in the groove of wrestling and going into conditioning sessions, I found myself at a point where I was like, my social life kind of just like vanished. I wasn't streaming as much as I was at all. I didn't really care about records at all. And all my focus was really on wrestling and just purely that. So I found myself in like a constant loop of like just like trying to get back into it and kind of just forcing myself to play because I didn't want to make content and obviously Bandetta was happening at the time. So I was like forcing myself to do shit for them and then also like make stuff for my own Twitch channel. And I don't know, I was just like I was in a really like weird spot because I was just like forcing myself to do stuff and I just was not motivated to do anything anymore because I was just so focused on IRL stuff.
mm-hmm.
But then once wrestling finished, this is the point I'm trying to make. Like once wrestling finished and I was done, I was like right back into it. I got a 255 on Rev, like maybe like the next week, and then right after I got that 255 on Rev, I was like super motivated and like wanted to play more. I went right into Moon and played Moon 255, and I got that straight away. I just kept playing all these round speedruns and just having fun streaming. So yeah, I mean, I definitely understand for sure, like how IRL stuff. When once you find something and you start doing that in IRL, like that will definitely just make, especially if you're so invested into that, like something, not even just like sports, but even if you're like going to the gym or just like maybe like a Panor or something like that. Like if you're so invested into something like that, it'll just turn everything off, like online, especially, you know. And then once I know Mike touched on it for sure. Like once life starts sucking and starts going in a bad direction, that's when you're like, okay, let me go back to what I enjoyed.
Yeah, it's easy to play zombies when you feel that way too because it's so time consuming and it's just a distraction from pretty much anything else, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
you, I mean, a zombies game can last however many days. Like it's kind of the perfect escape in some ways
Yeah,
for a lot of people. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about this before, where they like kind of they're going through a hard time, and so they play a lot of zombies, and they don't even like really realize they were using it to try and like escape other things, and then they kind of like catch themselves like, okay, like I'm starting to realize I'm just doing this because I don't want to deal with my other shit. So, and then they stop because they're like, they figure their other shit out. And I think that's a good realization to come to,
yeah,
to be like, fuck this, like I need to figure my shit out right now.
for
Like,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
last year or last school year, I was like pretty isolated alone in my room. I've definitely touched on this many times on the podcast, but like it was COVID and we had online school all year. It was my first year of college, didn't know anyone. Because of COVID, we didn't have any roommates. I was just by myself. And I was also in a pretty shitty relationship at that point as well. And it just like all kind of
Yeah, I
combined and
remember.
yeah,
I remember you were in that, and I kind of we don't ever really talk, but I heard about that. I remember when you got out of it, I was like, "Good for you, man!" Like I didn't, because
yeah.
I never realized it was like a bad relationship, I guess. But yeah, it's always good to get out of some shit like that.
Hmm.
Glad that you found a way out in the end.
oh yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it all kind of like came together and just made me like depressed and I was not having a good time. Fucked up sleep schedule, just always stressed about the
Mm.
relationship. I was not enjoying school. It just felt like I was in my room all day doing homework, procrastinating and stressed out from that and everything. And the only time where I was just enjoying myself was when I was streaming. And like it was definitely an escape for me, But even though it was a fucking escape, like I would get stressed out while I was streaming because I knew my girlfriend at the time like absolutely hated it. Like she would call me a loser.
Really?
She would say I would go nowhere in
Oh
life.
my
She said
god.
that like I like I'm pre-med. She said like I have
That's so
no chance of
toxic.
becoming a doctor because all I do is sit on my ass and twiddle my thumbs or whatever. It's just like all
Damn,
at the
bro.
time I didn't even realize like what that does to you, but I mean hearing that all the time from the person you care about most, it's like that's fucked up. And like I would get
Yeah,
Yeah,
you come to the
ignored.
realization like that they probably don't care about you so much at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, like I would
yeah,
get
that is
ignored for
that is
it. Then like for hours after I was done streaming, I would get ignored like intentionally. It's just like what are you
Damn.
doing? Like what are you doing? I'm just enjoying
yeah.
myself. I'm sorry. Like life kind of sucks right now,
I
bro.
kind of had a similar but very different scenario where it wasn't a girlfriend, but so I had a friend who I cut off last year in about it was like early June. We had been friends since we were 5, so
Mhm.
like we were really good friends for a really long time, and um it took me until like the end of this relationship or friendship or whatever to really just step back and look at it and realize how toxic it was. But so basically, um, he was the reason I got my last job. Like I had quit. I worked at Jersey Mike's years ago. I worked there for 3.5 years. Then I took a decent amount of time. Like I kind of just wasn't really doing much. I wasn't working for a little while. And then we hadn't hung out for like a year. I don't really know why it happened, but we just kind of stopped talking. Like we never it wasn't like one of us cut the other person off, but we just stopped talking. Then he hit me up like, "Hey, you want to hang out, man? Like it's been a while." I was like, "Sure." And then he offered me the job, and I was just like, "Fuck yeah!" Like I'd love to work for the place that you work at. And so I got that job, and it was manufacturing, and so I was like building machines and shit. I don't know if you're familiar with the semiconductor industry. It's basically companies that build these big ass machines that create microchips.
Yeah.
So we built the machines and sold them to like Intel or other companies, and then Intel uses them to make microchips. And so like I was enjoying the job at first, and so then we started hanging out a ton again, and like I don't know, I didn't really realize, but he was very controlling. Like um he always wanted to talk about his interests and his shit, and then anytime I brought up what like things that were going on with me, like he kind of would listen but didn't really seem interested at all. And then this is what really started to piss me off. He started like he was very big on investing, and I've made a lot of investments too. I've saved up a lot of money over the years of working since I started working when I was 16. Um, and like so he always wanted to talk about money at some point, and then he thought that he was like my investment guru or something. Like he never said that, but he started getting mad at me when I didn't want to invest money in things that he was telling me to do. I'd be like, dude, like it's my money. Like leave me
Yeah,
alone about this shit. Like stop telling me what to do with my money. He'd like pretty much tell me I'm an idiot for not wanting to like do every little investment that he's made and put like I've kind of diversified investments into a lot of different things. So like I had some crypto, and I don't know if you guys are into crypto at all, but there's basically if you own crypto, there are exchanges where you can take your crypto, send it to that exchange, and they will pay you interest rates
yeah,
for them holding it. And it's like that's cool, but I've never really like the idea of making interest is cool, but I just like to have my investments and just hold my shit in a place where I know it's secure. So I would
Mhm.
tell him, I'd be like, dude, I really don't want to do that because I had an amount of money where I didn't feel safe just transferring it over to this exchange that I didn't trust. And I was just like, dude, like I really don't want to put my money there. Like it's cool and all that they'll give me whatever interest rate, but I don't want to put my money there. Like, can you please just respect that? And he'd just be like, no, like you're a dumbass. Like you could be making so much extra money, bro. Like, what are you doing? You're just wasting your investment pretty much. And I was just like, shut the fuck up. Like I never said anything like that. Like it got to a point to where I was kind of enabling it in a way because I would just take it from him. Uh I wouldn't like fight back because I don't know, he would just do it so much. And then I had other friends who I would talk to, and I started telling them about the things he was saying to me and being toxic. And then it took and it took until then when I finally started like telling other people about it. At that point, like when they were telling me how toxic it was and how much of an asshole he sounded like, that was when I really realized like I don't think I want to be friends with this guy anymore. Like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
not only that, but he was also like all we really did when we hung out was like the things I talked about, like talking about money and shit and whatever he wanted to talk about. Like, but he always just wanted to get high, and that was kind of enabling me to like be a stoner as well. And so there was like we worked together too, so it was like I could never get away from this guy. Like we would work a full week, and like I didn't really see him at work much, but he always wanted to hang out on our breaks. And, like we always had breaks at the same time, so
Hmm.
we would like hang out on breaks, and he would talk about this shit. Like uh, every like after every work week, he would ask me to hang out, so we would hang out at least once a week. And like I got to the point where I just started saying no. I was just like, yeah, I don't want to hang out tonight, man. I just want to chill at home. And then every time I said no, he would ask the next day. And it's like that's not toxic. Like if you have a friend who wants to hang out, like and they really want to hang out with you, like there's nothing wrong with them asking you like
Yeah.
multiple days in a row. But I guess like I it came to a point to where I started saying no more than I said yes, and then he just kept on asking, and I just felt like I had to say yes and hang out with him to make him stop asking me until the next weekend. And then I realized, like, wait, like, why don't I just like stop hanging out with him completely and stop
Yeah.
talking to this guy if I don't even want to hang out with him at all? Like,
Yeah.
it was just, yeah, it took me a while to come to that realization, but, like, yeah, I kinda dealt with his bullshit for a very long time, him telling me what I need to do with my money and not really being interested in anything going on in my life, but always wanting to talk about his. And uh, yeah, so one week he hit me up asking to hang out, and I didn't know what to say because I had already decided that at that point, like I never want to hang out with this guy again. Like I want to be
Hmm.
done with him. So I like didn't respond. Then the next day he hit me up again, and I didn't respond. And then the next day he hit me up again, and I felt bad because I was like, I'm not just gonna ghost this guy. I don't like ghosting people. So I sent him this like fucking 20-page essay pretty much just
Essay.
explaining like I'm done with you. Like I don't think we really get along the way that we used to. Like yeah, I'm not gonna hang out with you anymore, man. I wish you well, and yeah, that's it. We're done. And he seemed to have taken it well. He was just like, oh, I get it, man. Like, yeah, sorry for all the trouble. But if you ever
Yeah.
need somebody to talk to, just like hit me up. And I mean, I haven't talked to him once since then. So
Mm.
I've definitely kind of since then felt like a lot better about life and stuff. Like I guess the reason I brought this up was because you were talking about your girlfriend and shit and how like you were just in a toxic relationship and it made you feel like kind of depressed. And like I think even though my situation was very different, it wasn't like a girlfriend for me,
Hmm.
but it was somebody who had like a he was very relevant in my life. Like it was making me feel the same way. Like I just felt like shit. Like, and then I
Yeah.
cut him off and kind of just do my own thing now, and I definitely feel a lot better. And
That's good.
especially since I stopped smoking, like I feel even
Yeah.
way better after that.
I was gonna say, bro, nice. Like if this, I'm really happy. Like you actually like came to the conclusion. Like you took it upon yourself to say, like, yeah, I really don't want to hang out with this guy.
Yeah.
Like really, like because you'll see it happen a lot where people just be stuck in relationships for like their whole entire lives.
Hmm.
Like not even just friendships, but like they'll get married to people that they don't really, they don't actually enjoy being around in this really toxic relationship, but then you find yourself stuck 10, 20 plus years with them and you're just not happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great to cut that off, that toxic relationship as soon as you can and
The
come to that
earlier the better.
realization.
Hmm.
Yeah, straight
Yeah.
up. Like earlier the better.
Like it
Yeah.
didn't really. We were friends. I said since we were 5, and it wasn't. I wouldn't say it got toxic until like maybe a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kind of thought it. I guess I just thought it was normal, cause what
Were you guys like family friends or like school friends?
school friends.
Okay. Because I was gonna say 5 is like
We had
I
met.
thought,
We had met in our kindergarten class.
okay.
We
Mm,
Yeah.
lived.
okay.
We still live in the same town. Like he lives kind of very close to me. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, like I don't know. I kind of dealt with it for years without like I said, it really took me until kind of right towards the end to realize like that it was toxic as fuck and that I didn't want to deal with it anymore. Like I thought that for the longest time before I talked to anyone else about it, I thought that I was the one who might be in the wrong for like thinking that he was just bullshitting me and like pissing me off. I thought that maybe I was just being like sensitive or something, but no, like realized just after talking it out with other people that I needed to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking
No,
to
I mean
other
I
people
would
is
tell
so
myself that too.
effective. Hmm?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
about that's
yeah.
exactly what I was gonna say. Like talking to other people, that's how you're gonna see like the truth. Because having your own perspective is not enough. You need other perspectives of other people around you,
You're
especially to see if
blind
it's
when you
not
care about someone.
literally like it's not even just for something like this. Like for literally everything in life, like getting a second opinion or just a third opinion on anything is always the best option.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
definitely. And yeah, definitely changed since then for the better. Like
Yeah,
it's nice when you don't have somebody hassling you about like every little thing in your life. You kind
yeah.
of just do your own thing and stop fucking caring so much about what this other person thought about every like literally just I know I made it sound like it was just money and the things I covered, but it was just annoying about a lot of shit. Like there's one thing that I never understood and I could never I never will understand, but he just had a lot of very unhealthy habits. Like I mean I I eat like Chick-fil-A and I go to In-N-Out like a decent amount, but I try to like at least balance it out and eat like I eat healthy shit at home, but this guy like made fun of people for eating like vegetables and having like diets and eating healthy and like every time we hung out he'd always want to go eat and I'd be like, "All right, man, like what do you want to eat?" And he'd like I don't the places I mentioned, Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out, they're like kind of the only fast food places I enjoy. Like all the other places are kind of just trash to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I understand why people would like them,
Yeah.
but I don't think they're good. I don't think they taste good, and they're terrible for you. And like he always just wanted to eat at places I didn't want to eat, and I'd be like, no, I don't really want to eat there. And then he'd just get so bothered, like, well, then what the fuck do you want to eat? Like I don't get it, man. Like and like just I don't that always bothered me, just he was so stuck up in his mindset about certain things, like, he could never understand why somebody might wanna eat healthy or eat something that he didn't like, just he's just a very strange individual when it
All
came to
things.
certain things, like, I don't know, I've never met somebody so picky before. It's like, it's okay to be picky, but when you're, like, making fun of other people and talking shit about, like, their habits when
Yeah.
you're kind of the one that is picky and weird about shit. Like it's just something about that just kind of that also pushed me over the edge. Like, yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, I'm glad you got out of that because that guy did not sound great.
Yeah, that sounded
yeah,
horrible.
definitely was not fun towards the end there. And I also, uh, as soon as I cut him off, I had quit that job too because that
Mm-hmm.
job was really
Oh,
pissing
that's
me
what you
off.
meant. So he
Yeah.
lost you your job then,
No,
technically.
no, no. Like
Like Jersey Mike's too, right?
no, it me like I quit. I didn't
Yeah.
lose the job. I quit. Or
Well, yeah.
I mean, um No, I feel like if I liked that job, I would have stayed, but that like the job itself was really
Oh
pissing me
yeah.
off.
Okay.
Like
Mm,
I hated that shit towards the end. I was miserable every single day. And so I kind of yeah, it was kind
I
of
got you.
if I had stayed there, even if I cut him off, like I still would have been around him. So in my mind, I was like, I hate this fucking job. I want to get away from him. Like two very valid reasons to quit. So yeah, once I quit, like it was just a great way to make sure that I wasn't around him anymore.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
And
I,
so yeah, ever since then, I haven't had a job, but I've made money. Like not a good amount of money, but I've made some money here and there doing
Hmm.
some things.
mhm.
But yeah, I plan to get back to work soon
That's
and
good to hear, bro.
get my shit together.
Fuck yeah, dude. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I think that'll wrap up today's podcast. I think it was pretty successful. Chris, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
I'm
so
glad
much,
we
bro.
finally got to do it after
Yeah,
all these
thank you
months.
guys. I swear it's been like 2 years since you asked me or something. Like maybe not that long, but yeah, thank you
Well,
for
SlowBroz
having me on
podcast
here.
hasn't been a year and a half
It's
yet.
been at least a year. I
Oh,
think it's been at least a year.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, but thank you everybody for tuning into the podcast today. Make sure you guys go check out Chris. His links will be at the top of the description if you guys want to go see some high quality Dead Ops arcade gameplay, or maybe if he one day goes back to Mob. I guess we're gonna have to see. But thank you guys once again,
You never know.
and I will see you in the next one. Peace.